Q&Asa. Game on Daily.
Mistakes have been made every Thursday for a little while now, for reasons unknown. I cook myself the world's hottest chili every Thursday right before going live, so I'm sweating more than I do when I run around on my VR treadmill. But here we are, live with stuff to talk about. So, welcome. You don't hear anything? Tony, that's outrageous because I know that you can. Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Tony, you're such a dick. Such a dick. How are we all doing this evening? Dars, long time no see. Ryan, I should say, but your name is still Darge on there, so I can read it out, right? Tom, Tony, Peter, Isla's I'm sure there somewhere. Danny, Passion Official. Jimbo is gone. Sad, heartbreak. Depressed, maybe, rolling with the laughter. Late because spicy. I'm actually late because this is the most stupid reason, right? OBS, the Open Broadcaster software, the stuff that I use to send out a stream, it has a nice little chat window, a YouTube chat window. Brings all the chat in so that you can read it, and normally it's positioned over there where I can read it and look vaguely near the camera. Today it's positioned itself just off the top of my primary monitor over there in such a way that I can't reach the bar to move it. And because it's not a real window, you can't control it as you would a window on Windows. You can't use any of the shortcuts to move it around. So without being able to drag the top of it, I cannot move it. It's been a little bastard and it's probably stuck there forever and ever and ever and ever. I'm so hot. How much chili did this thing need? Exactly the amount that I put in it. It was delicious. Good job, me. So, let's get into the show, shall we? Little bit of running order for all the new people like that. The Darge Knight, names that we've never seen around here because we're forgetful. This is Q&Asa. It's a conversational show. You can type things to me and to each other, and we have a back and forth, and we talk about all things gaming, what we've been playing, what the news is. There's some vague topics we'll go through as the show goes on, but mostly just talk as you see fit. If that's not good enough for you, if your voice is too important and you must be heard, you've got options. Second way that you can communicate on this show is there's a Discord server. It's the Game on Daily Discord server. Pop yourself in there, stick yourself in one of the waiting rooms. Waiting room 2, waiting room B, or waiting room Knuckles. Realistically, I probably won't notice you because I've not even got Discord open right now. But typically, the way that this show runs, you can stick yourself into Discord. You can get invited onto the show. You can say your piece for a couple of minutes and go from there. Options 3. There will be a YouTube Q&A box. You can stick whatever you want in there, within reason. Stick whatever you want in there. At the end of the show, we go through all of those comments, questions, whatever you want to call them, one by one, addressing every single thing that you've said. Option 4 is the super chat. Last week had a really high price, didn't it? Well, we'll go steep discount just to keep things level and rational. If you want your super chat to be read out, then $1,300 is the minimum price. $1,304 is the minimum price for today. So if you super chat $1,304 or equivalent in your local currency, I will read your super chat out on the spot right there and then. That's option 4. That's probably all the options for today. So can you physically, so Tom, that depends. Like YouTube's quite supports many different kinds of media. You can watch YouTube in like VR if you want. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on your PC. If you have some apparatus that will allow you to physically stick whatever you want in your Q&A box, I encourage you to do exactly that. Yes. So you thought Lords of the Fallen video looked interesting. No idea if it will be. We can have a little look at Lords of the Fallen a bit later on, Peter. It's a Souls-like. I've not done a Souls-like for a little while. That one is an Unreal Engine 5 game, so has some stuff going for it. A lot of people are quite enthusiastic for it. But I don't know yet. Don't know. Yeah, let's do that bit. So what's everyone been playing? I've been playing the usual, loads of games. A little bit of Starfield. I'm still right at the start of that, still playing badly. Somebody commented that they're playing Starfield themselves, but they check in and watch my streams and I'm terrible at it. And I acted cool. I played it off like, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind being told that I'm terrible at things, but really I was rocked by that. I was shaken. I was hurt. Oh, damn, that because I've changed where my chat is, I can't see a thing now. Questions. Live chat. There we go. So yeah, I'm still playing Starfield. You may have seen me streaming that. I was in a nice anti-gravity casino, which I don't understand because it had like a bar and a load of taps and things. And my interpretation of it was that surely there's supposed to be gravity in this place because, you know, it's a bar with taps and stuff. And you want patrons to be able to pay for drinks and drink them. But as I got delving further into this little casino thing, the kind of incidental lore, the tablets and bits of information that you find around, they actually described it as being an anti-gravity bar and casino. So I don't understand why the bar had taps and how that was supposed to work when everyone appeared to need like oxygen as well. No one's going to buy drinks in a bar where they just float in the air. Besides that though, I had quite a lot of fun in the anti-gravity environment doing the shooting, even though I died repeatedly. Don't do it, Tom. Do it, Tom. Taj, you're well below the minimum threshold, but also you haven't put a message in there. Taj, you really don't need to do that. Long time no see. You don't need to pay for attention and affection. It's not how it works. It just makes me feel weird. So thank you though. Thank you very much. I will put it to good use. Getting even more chilly for next week. Tell me what you've been playing. Tell me what you've been playing and what you've been up to. So Starfield, trash piece of shit, had to restart a mission since boss event didn't trigger. Oh, Tony's hitting the bugs. Peter, local gravity for taps and glasses. Is that a thing? Is that Starfield lore? Does local gravity exist for the taps and the glasses? Because I saw no evidence of it. That's how it works, Tony. No, there'll be no dancing right now. No dancing. This is a relaxed show. Is there an OST? Can you hear it? I can't hear the music. I can hear some meteor shower and environmental effects from this background, but the OST is not playing for me. I'll fix that. Oh, it's just really quiet. Whatever, it'll be back, it'll be back. Tony, you can hear the background, yes. Ordinarily the background is silent, but for this one it felt right to have a little bit of sound there. Where's the OST though? What's it doing? Gonna assume that we'll hear that soon. Alright, what else have I been playing? I have been playing... Someone help me out, because I've been streaming most of it. What else have I been playing? Baldur's Gate 3, still going through that. Various characters getting stabbed in the neck. Very shocking way that that's playing out. I'm enjoying that a lot. Because it's rare that games actually have meaningful consequences to incidental decisions that you're making as you go. And with Baldur's Gate, it feels like everything you do at any moment could have serious ramifications and being chaos as I am when I play, the ramifications are everywhere. Baz, how you doing? You're welcome to, yes, if you want to pay $19.99, you can go topless to your heart's content. I will not be doing that, but, you know, you can. I can't even stop you. What else have we got? Yeah, Baldur's Gate, still loving that. That one's going to be a weekly recurring theme. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for the next 100 years, every week. Tuesdays and Fridays, you know how it goes. Nick's exactly, choice actually matters, even when you don't necessarily expect it. If anybody saw the stream the other day, the main, like, plot central characters were having a disagreement, and this happens in RPGs all the time, and you always get the same choices, like, shout at them to tell them to stop, side with one or the other, and like one of them's going to like you and one of them's going to give you the, oh, I'm going to remember that, and be grumpy for a little bit. And I decided to let it play out, because these things always play out in the same way, really, regardless of what you choose. But no, one of them stabbed the other one through the throat. One character is dead forevermore, and it was hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious the way it was kind of hilarious, but also I was a little bit shocked that it played out the way that it did. So good fun. I like Baldur's Gate 3 a lot. Tony, you pre-ordered MetaQuest 3 with Asgard's Wrath 2. Are you telling the truth, or did you just think that you'd come up with something so brilliant with Asgard's Wrath that you said it just for the sake of that little pun? Have you actually pre-ordered a MetaQuest 3? We will talk a little bit. So Meta Connect has happened over the last, well, it's still happening now, but over the last day or two, Meta Connect has happened. They gave a little bit of spotlight to MetaQuest 3, a lot too much spotlight to threads and AI and stuff like that, but there's some VR things. PlayStation have been talking about their VR a little bit today as well, so there's some VR things. I know you all love it. Either you had a terrible 25-ish minute nap before the show and now you feel awful. I wish you could take it back, but I don't know how. Tom, you had a lift button broken in Starfield, so you couldn't use it. Bugged out, but seemed pretty real life. Yeah, lifts break, don't they? Part of the real world simulation that it's doing. Who else has encountered bugs in Starfield? Like, trivial ones or significant? Has anyone hit problems in it? Have I hit any problems in it? I've had the occasional, like, spinning object with physics being all balked, but I don't think I've hit anything too serious. The Asgard Wrath 2 does come with the pre-order with Best Buy. Yeah, it comes with the pre-order anywhere, so that's it's Meta that are doing that deal. If you get a Quest 3, any variety of it, so it's got, I think it's 128 gig or 512 gig are the two options that you get. Either one that you get, if you order it before, I've forgotten the date, early next year, I think. If you get it within the first like 2 or 3 months of its availability, then it comes with Asgard's Wrath 2, which is an interesting game. Tom, you've had it crash a few times. That's the Xbox version that you've had crash. I've seen a few people have... generally on the Xbox version, if it's gonna crash, it seems to crash really frequently, and it seems to just get a really small percentage of people. So either it works fine on the Xbox, or it crashes every like 30 seconds to a minute or so. You've had rare ones on Xbox. It's 97 hours, nothing other than the normal stuff in any game, so no significant bugs. Mine hasn't been filled with bugs, nothing to write home about. Sapphire, you have only had a couple of glitches with spinning characters and a spinning coffee pot. That's about it, yeah. I mean, I'm very early into it, so there's still lots of time for bugs, and I'm gonna probably cause them by being a bit of an idiot, so I'm sure I'll hit more than usual. But Replicant, how you doing? Wait a minute, I am buying you a Quest 3. I would love to. I can't buy myself a Quest 3, but I also don't think it would be a good purchase for me. I think it will be a good purchase for every single one of you. It's going to be brilliant, I reckon. But I think my Quest Pro is the way to go for me, because it looks cooler. So you've had one crash from the game and the other, it just froze when you tried loading from the menu. Excuse me. I mean, HDR issues aside, because I've had some of those. Oh, let me make me a bit bigger. No, I'm going to leave me nice and small down here. That's fine. I don't need to be big today. 3K? What are you talking about, Tony? It's like $500 for the lower end model, right? Which is a lot more than the Quest 2 launched for. But definitely not 3K. You're talking Apple money there. What else have I been playing? I didn't manage to play... Oh, because of course I had my PC died last week. And that was a disaster to try and fix. I haven't been onto the VR since that happened. But what I did, if you remember last time I played Skyrim on the Saturday stream, I had some visual glitching because of a certain mod that I installed. I installed a mod that's supposed to add like parallax mapping to all the textures, so it adds depth to all the textures and it makes Skyrim look a bit newer. And that's all well and good, but it caused some glitches in the shadows that made them render wrong in my eyes. I decided I'm going to fix that after my PC was rebuilt, so I went on to Nexus, which is where you typically get all of your mods for Skyrim, and I installed about 30 different mods. I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to just make sure I had the VR version of this parallax mapping mod, but no, I got carried away and installed loads of things. So it's hit or miss whether Skyrim works again for me now. I reckon it probably will, but there's always a chance that things will be a disaster. So that's something to look forward to. And I've been playing secretly offline, not streaming. Very rare that I don't stream things. I've been trying to play through Immortals of Avium because I want to do a review for it. My grand plan to become a reviewer has been disastrously bad so far. Like, so bad. To the point that I don't know how practical it's going to be to do. I'm still enthusiastic. There's still this like need for someone to do good reviews. Not, that's the wrong way to put it, because there are people doing good reviews, but there's a big gap that I want someone to fill, and there's no reason why I shouldn't fill it myself, except that I'm inept and I'm really terrible at managing time. So far in the last 2 weeks of trying to do this review, I've managed to do about 8 hours of Immortals of Avium. Really, I need to be doing more like 40 hours a day to get reviews done with like any kind of good pace and cadence. So I'm well behind schedule. But I'm going to keep at it, see if I can refine that and get a little bit better. Could I be the only reviewer of game intros? Splash screen feedback, or I can take the Grums approach and just read into title screens. That might work. I'm going to need to ask him for the art, how to understand like what's actually a lazy title screen, what it says about development studios, and go from there. But yeah, I think you're onto something, Tom. I could do that. Splash screen reviewer, title screen reviewer. But Immortals of Avium, for what it's worth, I'm kind of enjoying it. It's definitely got its problems, including some bugs that definitely should not make it into a retail release. But on a backdrop of Cyberpunk and Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3, it's quite nice to have something a bit more linear and more deliberately paced that just carries you through in the way that that one does. So that's going all right as well. Baz, what's the difference with MetaQuest 2 to MetaQuest 3 apart from the price? So the lenses is the biggest difference. The headset is thinner and lighter for the sake of comfort, but in terms of a typical person sticking it on their face and noticing a difference, it's going to be so much better in terms of clarity. Specs wise, it's got like double the GPU processing power, it's higher resolution, it's wider field of view, all of these kind of things. But the biggest difference when you put it on is it's just going to look really clear and crisp. So that alone is going to make it worthwhile to people, both in terms of like standalone, but especially as a PC VR headset. It's going to be really nice. Kratos, how you doing? What are you playing? Now I can hear some music of a sort. Maybe I've just got the music too quiet. No, it's probably too loud. Okay. Is that all I've been playing? I've got Liza P on the back burner. Oh, no. What did we play on Sunday? What was that stupid game called? Where's episode 13? I need him to hear that it's terrible. What did we play? You know what it's called. I'm going to find it. Party Animals. Some of you played Party Animals with us on Sunday, and some of you pretended that you like it. So when I say who's played Party Animals, some of you have got to say yes, because I saw you doing it. Blah blah. I'm bringing it up because I want to show the Party Animals. How does this work? Zoom. So Party Animals styles itself on human full flat and gang beasts and all the rest of them as a, like, these characters are supposed to be physics driven, and that's supposed to introduce a degree of chaos because they're just awkward to control and their fighting is weird. There's a lot of emphasis on its grab mechanics where you grab each other and try and drag each other around and throw each other. That's all fine, it's all well and good. But what I don't get about it is, to me, it's like a million trillion million miles behind Power Stone and Kung Fu Chaos. Like, arena games like that did dynamic stages properly. How is a modern game so far behind these games that we had on the Dreamcast and the original Xbox? It is a slapstick chaos fight, and the novelty of that, for me, wears off in about 12 seconds. You get the occasional moment of like, oh, that was kind of funny. And I'm not saying I'll never play Party Animals again, because I get everyone else that was there was having a moderately good time. But holy shit, Power Stone was better. Power Stone's ancient. Kung Fu Chaos. Like, if you could play in some way Power Stone 1 or 2 or Kung Fu Chaos with online multiplayer, I would uninstall Party Animals and insist that everybody plays that with me instead, because it's better. Not just because it's sharper and can be taken, like, it's still, especially Power Stone and especially both of them, they still walk the line of chaos and silliness and multiplayer hijinks, and like, it's not super competitive and serious, but they are responsive and sharp and fun to play whilst being chaotic, and they do dynamic levels that make such a difference to me. This one has like, there was a submarine level that's slightly dynamic but didn't progress through in the same way. East West 113, would I play Game Pass games on MetaQuest? It seems like a dull experience. I absolutely would not play Game Pass games on MetaQuest for multiple reasons. I've seen people say, actually, like, it's nice to see Microsoft dipping a toe in VR in this way. You used to be able to play voice is going on the Rift CV1, so the first Oculus Rift. You could play Xbox games. They had, I think it was called Xbox Portal. Can't remember what the app was called, but it wasn't cloud streaming. But if you had an Xbox on your home network and you had your Rift on your home network, you could stream games in exactly the same way, like onto a faux screen in front of you. It's a terrible way to play pancake games. Like the PlayStation Portal thing, there's circumstances where it would be useful, where like you don't have a TV available for whatever reason. So hang about, you've got like a sizable TV strapped to your face, you can do that. It enables you to play games that you otherwise couldn't. But if you've got a choice between playing cloud streaming into a virtual reality headset versus playing on a proper screen, pancake games are better on a proper screen, because proper screens are just ahead in that regard. I love VR, but no, not pancake games in VR in that regard. It's not a good way to play. I look like I was having a blast. Yeah, no, it's not. I couldn't enjoy Party Animals. It's gone now, and I don't like to speak down on games that people are going to enjoy and that people have worked hard to make. But this one's just not. It's not my style. And I'm sure people will insist that I play it again on Sunday. So, Peter, you haven't started Liza P yet? Oh, you're too late. That's a good question for Baz, actually. So, oh, you've answered it already. So you give up tonight on Liza P. Have you got past that first boss? Tony, you can't fool me. Don't lie. So, I've forgotten. So Baz was saying the other day that Liza P, the first boss, was insurmountably difficult and not fun, and basically ruining the game for him. I know that Liza P has nerfed various things and buffed a couple of things that the player can do. I don't know if it's made a difference to that first boss yet. So have you got any further with it, Baz? Is it any different? Are you finding the patches made it better? Or Southmore, you're stuck on Liza P at the Archbishop boss. It's tough. So you can check... I don't know, I've not got Liza P, so I've not got into it, but Eric has done a lot of like how to beat the difficult boss kind of content on her YouTube channel. Obviously, you know my policy, like guides are forbidden and you shouldn't use them. You're a filthy cheat if you do. But if you are so inclined to use guides, then check out Error Cuts for the Wins channel. She's got lots of Lies of P content on there. I will do Lies of P, or I will try Lies of P and see if I enjoy it. So Kratos, they talked about cheating. I'm missing something, Is there any Valve news? The only Valve news that I know of Kratos at the moment is Steam VR 2. Steam VR 2 beta is out. There was lots of speculation buzzing that Valve were potentially going to try and undermine MetaConnect by making some announcements while that was running. But they didn't really. They just released the beta for the software layer of Steam VR, the interface for it. Changed some things on there, including taking out the button that lets you exit VR. So now if you get into Steam VR version 2, you are in Steam VR forever. There's no way out of it. YouTube turned you into me. Oh, you're linking channels as me. Dave Mack, how you doing? What you playing? These are the important questions at the start of the show. Peter, you got really fucked off with Cuphead. You loved the game, but there was not enough breadth in difficulty levels. Did it even have difficulty levels? Could you select difficulty in Cuphead? I didn't mind it. I don't think I got on a point on Cuphead where I was actually stuck. But it also... I don't know if I was actually having that much fun with it. I tell you what, don't tell anyone. This will be a massive betrayal if you do. Mario Wonder looks really good. I had that trailer playing on Go Live on Saturday, and I hadn't seen it. Like it was a trailer that had released like pretty much that day if they do trailers on a Saturday. So I was just watching it there, but I was learning at the same time, and I was like, oh, actually, this looks like a good game. It's not. I'm not likely to play it because it's not going to draw my attention away. It comes out on the same day as Spider-Man 2, as well as all the other games that are currently underway. Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk, all of those. Cuphead is a dickhead. That is a pain. Peter, show it. Show what? Show what? Don't give in to the plumbers alert. Mario is still a shit character, and this is still the thing that undermines Super Mario Brothers Wonder, it's called. The thing that undermines it is still that the characters suck. But in terms of quirky gameplay, they put some stuff in there that looks fun. And visually, even though it's 1080p and like a very soft image, it's the style that suits the Switch just fine. So actually visually it holds up really well. East West 113. Nvidia's French offices were raided by France's antitrust authority over concerns that the company is engaged in anti-competitive behavior. Is there any... See, I hadn't heard this. I can definitely believe that they would be. We definitely know their ambitions. They were trying to buy ARM to be anti-competitive. They have a stranglehold in many, many regards on both AI and consumer GPUs and stuff. But you know where the concerns lie? Because I think you can go onto like any PC parts website and look at the price of an Nvidia card, and you can say, hang about, that's not right, and then raid their offices, and that would be fair. That's enough evidence. But I'm curious. Nvidia have a history of things that they've done against AMD in terms of like black boxed software things that make their competitors' cards perform worse than they should, and things like that. But they haven't actually been that bad in that regard recently. Raided, are they expecting to find employees under desks doing anti-competitive things? No doubt, Tom. I bet that's exactly where they do their crimes. You wouldn't do crimes like above the desk where your keyboard is, would you? French, the one language Isla doesn't care for. Is that true, Isla? Do you not care for French at all? It just broke. Whoa, that's... I wonder what that does. So Nvidia have been, I'm not like a stock tradey shares kind of person, but Nvidia have been one to own over recent months and years. French isn't that interesting. Wayne, how you doing? So what else have we got in terms of, let's run over the bad news before we get into the proper topics then. Right after I talk about Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. So we'll get back to Nvidia and Epic and Creative Assembly and all of those lot in just a minute. But while we're on games, has anyone started Phantom Liberty yet? Baz, that's why I have to stream Lies of P. People come in just to see me get pissed off, just to see me get upset, because that's entertainment. People want me to crack and show some emotion. So I have to stream Lies of P. And I will. PT, you don't have it. Tony, you're waiting for a sale. You're not paying full price. What's full price? Over here, I think it's 25 quid for the DLC. It might be a little while before it gets discounted, but I'm sure it will at some point. In the meantime, though, Cyberpunk version 2 isn't. Like, that's free, like. Oh, I'm sorry, Isla. I'll change the subject. Let's talk about Minecraft. Sorry, everybody. I've made Isla yawn. So, how's everybody finding the latest Minecraft flowers? Can we talk about the 2 chocolate cream eclairs that you have? Nobody wanted them, and now your stomach is... Wayne, absolutely, you can talk about it. Don't boo and then clip it. Massive layoffs across the game industry. Yes, we'll get to the massive layoffs as part of the bad news, but I want to touch Cyberpunk first. So, has anyone looked at Cyberpunk version 2? $90 on Steam for Cyberpunk with DLC. Oh, Tony, you don't have the PC version. You can surely find like cheap keys for Cyberpunk. I'll be way surprised if you can't get Cyberpunk elsewhere, because it's been on like steep discount in various places prior to this. I don't think you'll get the expansion particularly cheap at the moment, but I'd be surprised if you can't get the base game, which has a lot of stuff to play around with. The reason I mentioned it though, I haven't started playing it yet, but I just had a look at the like the benchmark, just because I had to reinstall my PC entirely. I thought, hey, it took quite a lot of configuring to get Cyberpunk to be like streamable with path tracing, because of the whole, it's an Nvidia flagship in terms of its path tracing, but also DLSS frame generation, and it's really difficult to get frame generation on a fixed refresh rate screen so that it's nice to stream. But I went through all of that and I thought, you know, I should get that installed and fixed, ready for Phantom Liberty. And I've not seen many people talk about the performance differences, but it performs so much better now with path tracing than it did before the patch, and I don't know why. So much better. I was running it pre-patch, like 4K with DLSS qualities, slightly lower resolution, like 1440p, whatever, with upscaling. Full path tracing without using the frame generation ran at about 13 frames per second for the benchmark, and the frame generation was absolutely essential if you wanted anything like a playable game, and that was reasonable because path tracing is wild for a real-time game. So I ran it this time and I can run it at 60 without frame generation, and it's like, I don't understand where this performance has come from, but very, very, very impressive. So now I've just got like different choices to make, because there are some visual trade-offs to get that 60 versus the visual trade-offs that you get with frame generation. Haven't entirely decided what I want to go for, but I've only heard good things about the DLC. Doesn't fix everything about Cyberpunk, it's still the same game, but combat's supposed to just be so much more fun now. I'm looking forward to it just for that, as well as the added content is supposed to be of a higher caliber than a lot of stuff in the base game. You're glad you bought it while it was cheap, even though you may never go back to it. No, you'll go back to it, Tom. There'll be time. Things will slow up in December. Kratos, you have a gross story regarding chocolate yourself. Please tell a gross story regarding chocolate. 25 million or something for dungeons. Oh, wait, what kind of dungeons? What are we doing? Anyway, that was all I got on Cyberpunk because I haven't played it yet. You think the new performance is from the PlayStation 5's magical SSD? The PlayStation 5's magical SSD has extended its magic so far as to boost performance on my PC, and it left Jim Ryan drained from the witchcraft. You could be right, Dave. It's a theory. It is a theory. It's not on. Oh, the chocolate story. Yeah, Kratos, everyone's like bated breath waiting for this gross story now. Put us off chocolate forever. Nothing to do with the 40. No, with the 4090, when I talk about the performance differential, like this big jump, I'm talking about the same, like the exact same PC, same hardware. It just works really well now. If you ever get Discord, you'll tell me about it. Oh, you can get Discord on your console. You can come on there. You'd actually come on and tell the story properly. That would be a thrill for everyone. I hope that it happens. Would I prefer CD Projekt Red to delay the game 3 years and get this version, or repeat what they've done? Definitely not repeat what they've done. There's a lot of people at the moment saying that Cyberpunk was always good so long as you played it on PC and all of this kind of stuff. And I don't know what those people are talking about. Like, I can totally appreciate someone coming out and saying, I enjoyed Cyberpunk when it launched. You're very welcome to, because there were some good things about the game. But it feels really weird to just pretend as there was nothing wrong with it when it came out, because there were definitely things wrong with it when it came out, even on high-end PCs. Not just like bugs and stuff. You're one of those people that you enjoyed it. That's fine. Like I said to Destin, well, I didn't say to Destin because he ignored it completely, but a lot of the things that make Cyberpunk fun now were already there in the launch game, and that is true. And it's a funny thing, like sometimes the difference between a bad game and a good game is really, really subtle. A lot of the things that people like about Cyberpunk now were already there. There were a lot of good things in there, but also, like, there were T-posing NPCs standing inside the sofas. If you happen to not see any of these bugs, if the game was just behaving as intended, pedestrians did not react to danger and they spent half the game walking into you. The traffic was on weird conveyors and in certain parts of the city just driving into the buildings. Like, there were things that were just objectively bad about it at launch that were valid and legitimate complaints. So I got no problem with someone coming out and saying, like, I like Cyberpunk at launch, I thought it was a good game. Sure thing. But rewriting that, like, pretending that none of the bad stuff was there or that it only applied to consoles and things, like, nah. I played that game at launch on PC on a 3090 that I had at the time, and I got so fed up with the pedestrian behavior that I stopped playing. And no one can rewrite that away. Like, that's my experience with the launch version of Cyberpunk, and no one can say that it wasn't like that, because it was. And you can see that from the fact that they fixed it in patches months later. That is just what the game was. Alex, did Jim Ryan call me before he quit? Apparently I told him increase the PlayStation price and then quit. He actually did it behind my back. No prior consultation whatsoever. So he's going to be hearing from me on Monday morning. This is not true. Apple Vision is ahead of the game with AR and VR. In what regard, Tony? What does it do well, in your opinion? Besides being very, very expensive. Southmore, you bought it at launch on the Xbox One X. You had no issues. It was fun. That's okay, but I can tell you for sure that the pedestrian behavior was shit in that launch version of Xbox One X, Cyberpunk 2077, as it was on the PC. And if it didn't bother you, that's one thing. But to say that it was good, no. Or to say that those problems weren't there, no, they were, I'm afraid. People have a fetish with iced tea. Interesting. So what else have we got? We were going to talk about some stuff. Cyberpunk was it wasn't supposed to be there as a topic. I just got a little bit distracted. We were going to talk about some of the negatives. Apple Vision is launching straight into me next year in spring. Straight into me. straight into me or to someone in chat. I'm not letting it anywhere near me. Tom, you played the next gen release point, and whilst it wasn't as bad as it looked at launch, it still wasn't right. It just felt empty and non-immersive outside of the main quest. So some of that, Tom, will still be there now. I found the 1.5 release, the one where they re-released it on PlayStation, it fixed a lot in terms of those like pedestrian behaviors and things like that, and it fixed a lot of the performance on the consoles. But it hasn't like made the city a immersive sim or anything along those lines. And I don't think, from what I've heard, I don't think those things will please you now either. It's just become like basically all the combat and character development is improved. Everything will feel a bit better to play. You can have more fun killing stuff, but you're not going to have more fun going into the city and talking to the civilians. Apple Vision, Apple Vision, to the tune of Chuckle Vision. Yeah, yeah. Drinking Buckfast now. It's just another sweet red wine. You love Night City. Night City's pretty, right? I'm still torn on whether I should like, attempt to get it working in VR before I explore, or whether I should play it all path traced. Night City is cool. I know why you like it, Replicant. You're just fascinated by the variety of dildos, but outside of the dildos and stuff, it does a lot less than some other open world games. I get people's criticisms of the open world, even though I like the colours and the dildos. So much of the great content in 2077 comes from the side quests in 2077. Yes, you did. Dildos and nips. Yeah, forgot about the nips. I've heard that one side quest in particular, so ACG's always talking about it. A side quest called Maelstrom or something is supposed to be several notches better than the rest of the side content, but I will see when I get there. People actually thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was coming to Nintendo Switch. Oh, Tony. I saw some of the imagery. It was more of a mockery around that Mortal Kombat version, wasn't it? That I still love. Baz, you're going to try Cyberpunk sometime again in the future. Ended up being wokish after playing it. Do play Cyberpunk. It is a good game now. And I'm not talking about version 2 and Phantom Liberty because I haven't played those yet, but it is a good game. You think you dreamed that I streamed Red Dead Redemption 2 and I had a new thumbnail that you didn't make. No, the thumbnail that you made was good. I will use that again when I play Red Dead Redemption 2, which I can do now because since rebuilding my PC, painful as it was, since doing that, Red Dead Redemption 2 does launch and play. I just haven't had time yet. I am looking forwards to another game that's going to take 100 hours or whatever. Yee, so much to play. So much to play. Alright, let's get on to the negativity. So, first off, I don't have heaps to say about each of these topics, but okay, Nvidia might be in trouble with the French Competition Authority. I don't know what they're called or if they have any power. They're presumably they're raiding the French offices, doing something, and they're gonna I don't know French legal process against anti-competitive behaviors at all. So I don't know how significant that is, but if it ends up getting me a cheaper 50 series graphics card, I'm all for it. Go French authorities, have at them. That's all I've got on that topic. It's breaking now, so I don't know what's going on. Epic. Epic got rid of 16% of their staff today. Completely out of the blue. How significant is the internal storage for the Meta? See, I'm sorry if you're trying to follow the topics really closely, but as soon as I see a question or a comment, I do just like dart between them. Are you trying to decide which version to get, Tony? It depends how many native MetaQuest games you're getting. If you're intending to use the MetaQuest 3 as a PC VR headset with your 4090, which I highly recommend you do, then the internal storage doesn't really matter. If you're planning to play Meta's own like native headset games, then it matters. You'll fill up the smaller one quite quickly in that sense. Personally, I hardly play anything native, so you don't need to worry about it. Dennis, how you doing? And what are you playing? Haven't I told Isla that someone on the side is making other thumbnails? Ooh, Peter, don't start trouble. Occasionally I make my own thumbnails, but very occasionally. Is that what it's actually called, Tom? Or are you just, no, horror? No, you're making up French stuff. You did maths at school today and now you can do trigonometry. Good. Good, but trigonometry is not a game. It's a serious matter, so we'll keep that aside out of this show. Thank you very much. For games, not sciences. What else? So Epic, 16% of their staff, which was several hundreds of people. They also divested a couple of companies that take the total numbers to 900 and something people that have been let go from Epic. Obviously it sucks in all circumstances for businesses that are making like tons and tons of money to just throw people away like that. Not nice for anyone involved. They do get 6 months severance and all the rest of it, so hopefully they'll... Sometimes when you get made redundant in those circumstances, it can be quite delicious. Because 6 months pay all at once is very handy if you do land on your feet and walk into another job, but it's always turmoil. It's not fun to go through. So best of luck to all the people that have been affected. But did you see the reason that Epic are getting rid of these people? Because this is the bit that surprised me quite a lot. The reason Epic have cited for having to get rid of people to reduce staff is that Fortnite's growth was lower than expected. How the fuck is Fortnite growing? How is that possible? It's not possible. Fortnite was surely at its biggest like 5 years ago or something, when all the kids were playing it and talking about it and doing their flossing in the playground. There is no way that Fortnite can still be growing. I don't understand. Is it like... Are people just being born into it now? Is it growing as more children are born, or what? I would have thought, Peter, that it reached its saturation point years ago, and now was just like King David playing against bots by himself, and that was about it. I was shocked by this. Like, Epic have plenty of like other revenue sources. I'm sure Fortnite still brings in a pretty penny, but growth, how can it be growing? Yes, Dennis, that's another thing they did say. The player created content is not as lucrative as the way that they had Fortnite set up before. So Epic did a pretty good thing, integrate. Well, I say a pretty good thing. Their motive is obviously selfish. Fortnite's creator content, they basically integrated Unreal Engine into it properly, so effectively the people that are using Fortnite's tools to like make maps and content and that are using Unreal Engine 5. So from Epic's perspective, they are farming the youth by doing this. They're getting people intimately familiar with the Unreal Engine toolset through Fortnite, so that they can... We all know that Unity have taken some missteps lately anyway, but there's a constant battle between those two. Like, the reason that you have the free versions of these engines and ways to hook people in it early is that you get these people early on in their like development, say careers. Obviously it's not a career when you're just making content at home, but they hook people early onto the engine so that they can remain dominant in the industry. And Epic did that well with Fortnite, but they are in the moment making less money. They're also spending heaps of money to try and float their own store. So the Epic Game Store gives like 4 free games a month, and unlike PlayStation Plus Essentials and what used to be Xbox Live Gold, these are free games. There's no subscription tied to them. They're just paying people money and putting games on there. And some of these are reasonable games. Some of them are even like day one releases and things. So they're spending a lot of money on that. They're spending money on developing their engine, which you'd want them to do. That's their core function. And they're spending a lot of money on legal cases against Google and Apple that they're not winning particularly. So you can see why they I don't know where their money's going, but I was baffled that the mere suggestion that Fortnite is still growing at this point. Like, I get capitalism insists on growth, but how can Fortnite be growing? Dennis, you played through Hotline Miami 1 and 2. I've never played those. I've heard they're really good, and the second one's supposed to have a really good soundtrack as well. But now you're telling me it's frustrating, so I don't know. I don't know how eager I am to get into them. Are they still fun? They weren't like cutting edge visuals when they came out, so they're obviously a gameplay kind of setting and vibe first experience. Do they still hold up today? Should I play them? Because I've got loads of time for more games. But I've always been curious about them, never really looked into what they are. I know they're like top-down perspective and you shoot a lot of stuff, but that's all I know. Tom, you just strung some European-sounding words together. It was the word horror in the middle that gave away that it probably wasn't the real authority over there. But you were in a coma when someone made a video. Curious. I'm glad you've recovered. Fortnite it's growing because they took away building. Yeah, it did have a little resurgence when they went for zero build, didn't it? And Replicant, you sense the gas bubble burst is coming. Yes. So that kind of leads on to Hyenas and the Sega layoffs, but and the PlayStation topic as well. Yes, gas is a difficult thing to chase at the moment. And if that bubble is bursting, I'm not sad about it, really. Sad for like people that are impacted, obviously, but in terms of games and what they are, interesting time seeing how the industry unfolds over the next few years, right? And Wayne, can I start to beg for subs like Reforge? This is like, I don't know the guy at all, except that he's very animated with his hands and he asked for a lot of money. I saw someone on Twitter saying they were like a 12-month member to his channel, and his channel's memberships are pretty expensive as far as I know. They're a 12-month member, and they asked him why he had blocked Alex, like what their argument was. And rather than respond, he blocked that guy from YouTube. That's like, I don't know what his relationship with his audience is and how so many people are paying. I know of a lauded history that I don't know the details of, so I'm not going to speak on it too much, but it doesn't seem like a character that deserves the platform that he's got. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I've not heard good things, so I don't know. No, I'm not going to wave my hands and insist that you will give me money unless it meets the $1,308 threshold for super chats this evening. Drama. It's not drama from me. I've got no relationship with this chap. I've never watched a single bit of his content. I don't know anything about him. So apart from there's no getting away from the fact that he closed down, shut off, rebranded and left his persona behind because he was accused of sexual harassment from multiple people, which is serious charges, which is, like I say, I don't know enough about it to speak on it, except that this is why I say, like, if there's any truth to any of that, then he doesn't deserve the platform that he's got. If there's not, then it's like sad that these accusations are flying around, but I don't know. So Gaz has a close relationship with Reforge. There's lots of like early days blocking there, yes. But as you think you're getting blocked from here soon? From here? Console Warriors instant block, but none of you are, like, people that are here know where I am with that stuff. And I say that, I haven't blocked Gaz, so obviously not every Console Warrior is immediately blocked, but very civil here. Legally covered? No, I don't. I'm not looking to be like lawfully correct in saying that, Peter. It's more I don't know the details, so I can't speak on more than I know. So you might got the episode number wrong. You're going to count them. I think it followed sequentially from last week's, but maybe not. I'm not on top chat. Tony, you're not fooling anyone. Final Fantasy VII, unless you're talking about one that's not released yet, So, Rebirth or... what do you reckon they're going to call the last one? Resolution, something beginning with R. Unless you talk about one of them being worse than Final Fantasy 15, that would be a disaster. But not outside the realms of possibility. Final Fantasy 7 Remake that we've all already played, so much better than Final Fantasy 15. Last week says 61. Yeah, that might have been a me mistake rather than a you mistake. What did the week before say, Isla? Peter, it is both, but me like keeping it legally okay is a coincidence. That's not what I was aiming for. Reforged reminds you of an American version of me. I hope that there is some flattering angle there that I'm missing, because otherwise, how dare you, sir? Oh, okay, so we've got the wrong one. This is episode 62. That's still a lot of episodes. You want a first-person shooter of Hotline Miami. Get Devolver to make it. Alex, will I finish Baldur's Gate 3? Yes, absolutely. I've already finished it once. When Buttercup Squiggins died, met his end. That counts as an ending. Although I guess his story is continuing this time around. Yes, I'm enjoying Baldur's Gate 3. It's going to take a long time to get there playing twice a week as we are, but I will get to the end of it, I'm sure. Good game, good game. And yes, Peter, I know, it's all good. What else have we got? So, Epic let people go. Sega have cancelled multiple games in their European operations. The only one that had been announced that was known about was Hyenas from Creative Assembly. But there were other projects, unannounced projects were cancelled as well, due to macroeconomic conditions in the region. What's going on there? Someone tell me. What's making it difficult to develop games in Europe? Hyenas in particular comes back to what Replicant was saying about the gas bubble potentially bursting. Hyenas was... Did you play it, Replicant, when you say that you're not surprised about it? Hyenas was a 3v3v3 v3 maybe, I don't know how many teams there were, but teams of 3, kind of extraction multiplayer, like a hero shooter with extraction elements. You had to go in there, find Sega related paraphernalia in an anti-gravity space with these hero characters, kill the other teams and try and escape. I was invited to multiple betas for it, but never quite got around to playing it, and never really... the whole setup didn't really appeal to me because... Brexit. Brexit would explain... So Creative Assembly and Hyenas was based in the UK, so it could make some sense there for that to be related, but they did say it was across their European operations. So, not sure about that one. Brexit can do all kinds of damage to us in the UK, but I think this did expand beyond us. Cuts from a lot of EU arts fundings, yeah, could be something along those lines. Isla, I've probably misnumbered things at some point. I'm going to assume that you were correct and I was not, because it seems pretty likely that that's the case. You think the hero shooter genre is, like that in particular, is tough. What's the popular hero shooter at the moment? Because Overwatch isn't popular anymore, is it? Wouldn't Overwatch declining leave an open space for a good hero shooter? Obviously, we've already seen, like, as a subgenre, it's been a big struggle in a way with things like Lawbreakers going by the wayside. And what was the other one that came out about the same time as Lawbreakers and Overwatch? Began with a B, I think. May have been from the Borderlands people. It was part MOBA, part first-person shooter, hero shooter. And it was quite good, but quite messy. Someone must remember what that was, I'm sure you do. Battleborn? Might have been Battleborn. You're right there, Replicant, it is Battle something. I'm going with Battleborn. Yeah, hero shooters are difficult. Brimstone Studio mentioned that it's gotten harder for UK-based dev teams without the EU parachute. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. But good news for them. Oh, Jeremy Hunt and Bobby Kotick and a load of other game executives did sit around a dinner table telling jokes. So everything's going to be fine. You like Battleborn? I like Battleborn. It was visually a bit too noisy for me. I couldn't decipher what was going on. I'm going to find a Battleborn trailer. The characters were quite neat and novel, and the structure of the game seemed to work quite well because it did fit the MOBA template with lanes and objectives along the way. Battleborn launch trailer. Here we go. That will work. I wanted to like Battleborn. Some of the characters were fun to play as, but when things got heated, there was a lot on the screen in terms of spell effects and not knowing whether you're supposed to be in them or out of them and what's going on most of the time. I've never played... I'm similar with Overwatch. Overwatch isn't visual noise, but you have to be really tuned into the things that you hear on Overwatch, I think. You have to understand what it means when various heroes shout various lines, and I'd never played it enough to learn what anything that was going on, really. Felt very Borderlands tone-wise. It was a Gearbox game, wasn't it? Or wasn't it? Don't know. It was definitely squashed by Overwatch. That's one thing Blizzard have traditionally been very good at doing, is tactically crushing their opposition. So whenever it gets really petty in degree sometimes, because when they've been dealing with World of Warcraft in the past, I can't think of a good example, but any other MMORPG would be doing anything whenever like somebody else was trying to control the media cycle and get some attention for their project. Blizzard would time their announcements and trailers and releases to sync anybody else. So it's not a surprise that with Overwatch they crushed their opposition as well. Yeah, that's a perfect example, Replicant. They launched the Overwatch beta on the launch day of Battleborn. That's how they compete. Very effective, very kind of... Well, it's a bit sinister, but... But hey, Diablo 4 was a game this year. I'm not sure I've seen a game decline as hard as that. Does anyone still play Diablo 4? Ruthless, yes, that's the word. It is a bit ruthless. But also it does speak to like the quality of their games to be able to squash their opposition in that way. Because obviously that could have backfired if people had decided Battleborn was a better game than Overwatch, but... Does anyone still play Diablo 4? I'm still on Act 1. No, I got to Act 2, I think. Like right at the start of an Act 2. Didn't catch me, that one. I still have it installed. Or do I? Maybe it was on the SSD that failed. It's still on the list to try and play at some point anyway, but I don't see anyone talk about it ever. Which is a surprise for the kind of game that it is. And the kind of legs it was supposed to have. The kind of microtransactions that it's supposed to extract from those legs. Who else was there that's made some redundancies today? So Epic have. Creative Assembly have closed Hyenas. Hyenas, I wanted it to do well. I like Creative Assembly. They're obviously much better known for the Total War games. Them chancing their armor, free-to-play gas hero shooter was a fairly bold strategy. But so Replicant, you were talking about gas bubble bursting in the near future, but it's been a tricky bubble for a while, right? If you look at the number of studios that have been chasing it over recent years, and things like Hyperscape from Ubisoft and Battleborn and various other things, it's been a very lucrative market, but a market that's been very much dominated by a handful of very stubborn IPs. Like Fortnite is still growing, doesn't leave room for many other free-to-play games, and Battle Royales in particular, they had loads of competition with like Realm Royale and Naraka Blade Point and all these other kind of things that came out. It's very, very difficult to turn heads when people have already invested into a particular games as a service game. People just get stuck on them forever. And interesting that it's like the struggle is becoming more and more real, and maybe publishers are going to stop chasing it quite as hard as they have been. But it seems to be Sony's future for a while. Maybe, depending on who takes charge and what they decide. Even Battle Royale popularity will drop. Even if it doesn't drop, there's not space for more Battle Royales at the moment. As far as I can see. Well, that's been the case for a while. So you've got Call of Duty Warzone, you've got Fortnite, and you've got, what's the other one? Apex Legends. And a fair few people still play PUBG as well for some reason. Outside of those though, anybody wanting to capitalize, it's too late. That wave is gone. You can't make a Battle Royale. You're going to need to revolutionize Battle Royale in some really clever way to have much hope. But jumping on a trend and then taking 5 years to develop your game whilst others are doing the same is a risky business. Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it, Tom? When you see a trend explode, games take a long time to make, so you've already missed it at that point. Sucks to be you. There's exceptions, like Fortnite is the big exception because Epic saw a trend as it was exploding and were able to pivot very quickly to capitalize. Space Denizen, how goes it? What are you playing? Sega Europe had a rough year. Not only the gas shooter, but also Company of Heroes flopped after several years of delay. Did it flop? That's a shame. I know one person that's been playing that and says that it is actually good. I've never played a Company of Heroes game, and it fell by the wayside for me for timing reasons, really. But Company of Heroes was like, it's a PC IP. Really, I think that one released on consoles as well, but it's the kind of thing like the Total War games that have their sphere of influence that is not necessarily easy for me to recognize or see. To see the success or failure of it, I wouldn't know if a given Total War game was good or bad, because those people don't go on Twitter and yell quite as much. It doesn't hit the news cycle in the same way. So it's a shame though that, like, any game that has heart and soul put into it struggling is always a shame. What a fun industry that we're in, eh? Fun industry. Baz, a lot of people went back to Path of Exile with a new season, and you told it's a lot better than Diablo 4. So Path of Exile, I've never played it because just it being free to play is quite off-putting in general, but I've heard good things about it in terms of its depth, and obviously being free is going to make it easy to turn to. But Path of Exile 2 comes out fairly soon, right? If it hasn't already. People can't possibly dedicate lots of time and money to multiple games as a service, so they'll concentrate on one or maybe two. It's not just it's not that people can't necessarily replicate, it's that these games are specifically engineered to hold people's attention. It's like central pillar of the games as a service model is that you keep people coming back into your game as a service so that they can keep spending money. So all of them are engineered with masses of dark patterns, like login rewards and daily streaks and quests that you have to complete every day. They insist on your time. So even if you just like Fortnite a little bit, if you want to play it to any serious intent and you want to get through its battle passes and things, then you are excluded from playing the other ones, essentially. So yeah, it's a difficult space for other games to break into, even though you'd think sticking out a reasonably quality polished product for a price of free would get you some attention. But no, the ones that are successful are very, very sticky and people go back to them. What are you playing? No Man's Sky on Space Denizen? Is that PSVR 2 or PC VR? You've been told good things about Path of Exile. Most people, when they're talking about Path of Exile, just look at the complexity of the trees, the character building, class building, specs, and all the rest of it. The thing that puts me off of Path of Exile most recently, actually, is Onois Alex, because he's quite an advocate for the game, but when he's advocating for it, he talks about like specific builds. I don't think he's spoken about it recently, but he talks about specific builds that you have to kind of spreadsheet up and all the rest of it to maximize your numbers. And I didn't want to hit a spreadsheet to play a game, so I decided against playing it. Some people love that kind of theory crafting though. You're playing on PSVR 2. I tried it. So I've got No Man's Sky on PC and on PlayStation VR 2. I tried the PlayStation VR 2 version before they patched it to make it look prettier. And on the PC version, I can play it on my treadmill, so that's the one that I would play if I could. But I always just start and go, well, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what it wants me to do. And then I run around until I run out of oxygen or something. I don't know. And then I die. Well, I've seen so much positive feedback about recent No Man's Sky VR patches and how it is up there with Gran Turismo 7 as one of those games that you can just play forever. You played through the Portal 2 mod, Dream Come True. I might do that at some point. That is tempting. I might be sick. I don't know. There's so you can play on the native Quest flat to VR stuff at the moment from Team Beef. You can play you can 3D. I want to play through, and the original Prey looks really good in VR, like for a standalone VR game. So I want to play those. Peter, we both play City of Heroes / Villains, and for you it was perfect. A tenner a month, nothing else, and no one had a paid advantage. Bring that shit back, Peter. You know, I played a lot of Asheron's Call 2 as well. Games before World of Warcraft that had a subscription. People balked at it and hated it, but I would love to go back to that. Like a fair subscription where you pay monthly and you get content. I would take that over any current service game model in a heartbeat. Like, yes, please give me that. And you can get games now like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV that you subscribe to, or things like Elder Scrolls Online that have an optional subscription. And all of those are littered with like microtransactions, services, level boosts, and all this kind of shit that doesn't belong in a subscription game. Take me back to the days of paying for content. Proper subscription MMORPG. Please. But it's never coming back. We're never getting back there, I'm afraid, Peter. Never. What are my thoughts on Party Animals now that I've played it with the community? I hate it, Dennis. Hate's a strong word that I shouldn't like use. There's entertainment to be had. But so I did talk about it at the start a little bit. For me, it's such a step back from Power Stone and Kung Fu Chaos that it's I just want a new Power Stone. I play Party Animals and I just want a new Power Stone. So someone get Capcom on the phone. I'm sure they'll do it right this time. Like, they're doing everything right at the moment, so new Power Stone would be lit. It's me speaking like other people, that's not me. Gutted that the Evil Dead game is done, not doing any more content for the game now. Yeah, but you can still play the content that was there for the foreseeable future, right? I've never played it. That was one of the free games on Epic at some point. I think I did redeem that one. So I think I have the Evil Dead game on the PC on the Epic store. Your tab crashed. Uh-oh. I'm not usually a big fan of asymmetrical multiplayer games, which is why I've never really touched the Evil Dead one. I never, ever, ever, ever find that asymmetrical multiplayer. So things where you've got like people versus monsters or 1 versus 4 setups are never going to be balanced. It's never going to feel like you won or lost because you were good or bad. It's always just going to feel like an issue between the teams. Bloody Texas Chainsaw Massacre bollocks that is. Insane that they never continued Power Stone after 2. Yeah, I would love a new Power Stone. Having played Party Animals, like, please give me a Power Stone with the mechanics. Like, they were clever mechanics that determined like who you were supposed to be fighting and focusing on if you actually wanted to win. So it was still a chaotic multiplayer game. You still had a fair amount of luck involved, but you had fairly clear objectives and motivations, and the levels were just fun. Shit was happening. Especially Power Stone 2, like stuff progressed and moves, and it was all silly and chaotic, but so much like ahead of Party Animals, and it shouldn't be because we're like 20 years further into the future now. Oh well. There's been a few Power Stone likes on Steam, but they're not as good. I reckon Steam probably has some like hidden gem party games. Difficulty is that I need to play games that I can easily invite people to. So games that are cross-play or on subscription services. those win out for my Sunday streams because I can invite people more easily. And that's what makes a community game fun, right? Like everyone being able to play, which is the trouble that I have with the Peter's Tank game, which, Pete, I don't know how I can never remember the name of this game. There's a tank game that I would quite happily play with all of you, but it's not cross-platform and you have to buy it on one platform or the other, so it's just too difficult to arrange at that point. There's entertainment to be had. Same can be said about having your balls squeezed with pliers. For some people, each to their own like. Not sure about that, Tom. Can't knock it until you try it, I suppose. But I don't think I'm going to try it. Boomerang Foo is a go-to party game. I'm going to look into that. Is that a Steam thing, Dennis? I do very much, by the way, welcome suggestions. Things that people want to play, things that people think will suit Sunday streams. Always throw them in there, because I'm always looking for stuff to jump on and play. It's fun. Shell Shock Live, that's the one, Peter, thank you. Death Tank Zai. What's on Steam and Game Pass? No, I've never heard of it. Wait a second. Wait a second. Boomerang. Got a Nintendo release date trailer from 3 years ago. I'm going to play that and see what this game is. Well, that's the other kind of game that works for community stuff, is the Smash Brothers template. Because then everything's all on one screen and it doesn't really matter if I'm particularly involved or not, it's still entertaining. So that's a good format of multiplayer game. This one, you throw boomerangs or turds and you are toast. Yeah, I'm going to look into it. If it is available in a way that I can get people involved, then this one looks playable, apart from that one turning into a pot. We're not doing stealth modes. Well, I played Disney Speedstorm. It's free to play as of today. Well, there's an example of a free game, right? Sure, Alex. Is that one cross-platform? Are we up for Forza multiplayer races on Sundays? Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsport, Peter? I have Forza Horizon specially installed just because I figured people would ask for it. You know that I don't... Like, pancake racing is such a pale imitation of VR racing. But for all of you, I will do it because multiplayer makes things more fun. So, yes, Disney Speedstorm can be on the list. Yes, I mean, like, the Hot Wheels game can be on the list. Sure, why not? Forza games, be it Horizon, be it Motorsport, why not? If people want to play those, I will ram the crap out of you. Motorsport next month is it's the 10th of October, right? So a couple of weeks away. Or 5th of October if you pay for the premium thing, but I will not be paying for the premium thing for that one. Or now, if you're an influencer, an Xbox evangelist, then you can play it today. Don't know if the Disney one is cross-platform. I'll be surprised if it's not. It's fairly recent, isn't it? But I'll look into it, Alex. Smush the like button. Yes, do that. Smushing is good. Right. I've forgotten the topics. Bear with me. So we did Laos. Very sad. Not much else to say beyond that. Oh, VR stuff. Everyone loves VR stuff. Treadnoughts is a fun party game. I've heard of that. Treadnoughts. But fun is only part of the equation. It's availability as well. I need games that everyone can have. Treadnoughts. Also, I need... I'm one drive down on my PC since my issues, so... Wait, I've got a feeling this is going to be another... Uh-oh. Uh-oh, is it going to be a rip-off of Peter's game, Shell Shock Live? Or is it going to flip into a 2D perspective? Jumping tanks. Today for who? Reviewers. Yes, reviewers and lots of... Peter, it's your game, right? This is Shell Shock Live, but... the landscape isn't explodey though, which is disappointing. Am I the only one here that's played Death Tanks Vi? This is like a faster paced thing, I guess, but conceptually similar. Shell Shock Live is 2D, yeah, but this is 2D. I'm a reviewer, yes, but I'm not an Xbox evangelist. I would think proper reviewers have also got Forza, to be fair. You were agreeing. I should hope so. Everyone has to agree all the time. Channel rules. You think I'm a Nintendo guy? Hell yeah, I'm a Nintendo guy. Just don't play any of their games because I don't like their console or their characters. Apart from that, though. Am I speaking German? I kind of choked on this Vi, but yeah, Death Tanks Vi was... wonderful game. Death Tanks, I've said before, but I'll say again. So Death Tanks Vi, I'm going to bring up the trailer for that. Also footage for it. It was on the Sega Saturn. I don't know about the original Death Tank. Death Tanks Vi was a mini, it was an Easter egg game contained within Duke Nukem 3D. So you had to, there were two ways to unlock Death Tanks Vi. One of them was to have a save file on your Sega Saturn from the game Exhumed. So for me, I owned Duke Nukem 3D, I didn't own Exhumed, but I rented Exhumed from Blockbuster, specifically to unlock Death Tanks Vi. The second way that you could unlock it was to play Duke Nukem 3D and destroy every toilet in the game. So Duke Nukem 3D had like, I don't know, 40 or 50 levels. It was quite a big game. If you played through the entirety of the game and destroyed every single toilet, then you unlock Death Tanks Vi. Death Tanks Vi, I played more than most other games in the universe once I did have it unlocked, because it was up to 7-player party game. So Death Tanks Vi had its own Easter egg. It was a 6-player party game, but if you plugged in a 7th controller, then you got a special rainbow tank. So Easter egg within an Easter egg. And it was like that game that was just up there, the Treadnoughts thing, or Shell Shock Live, like a real-time Worms game that just worked. You could just play it for hours. It was fun. Be good if you get 8 players at once on Forza Motorsport. Forza Motorsport supports more than 8, doesn't it? Isn't that like 24 players or something? Because that would be fun, Baz. I've seen the footage of Forza and the fact that you can scratch paintwork. So you'll all be racing and I'll just be trying to remove paint from your cars. But yeah, that sounds fun. More Tanks Vi. No, it's Death Tanks Vi. They just called it Death Tanks Vi. Blur and Split Second were ahead of their times, maybe so. And what was the Sega one that had cars with guns? Was it Flat Out or something like that? No, Flat Out was just a normal destruction one. I can't remember. There was a Sega one that came out with the launch of one of the Xboxes, where the cars had like cannons mounted on top and the scenery was quite destructible. That was a fun game. Yes, I'm happy to play the Forza games on the Sundays. Alex, can we play Payday 3? If it works. Payday 3's notoriously struggling with matchmaking and things at the moment. I think I have it installed on the PC. I don't know if that one's cross-platform. Let me have a little look on the store, actually. Only German you know is Rammstein. Yeah, sing a song. Don't sing a song, it's fine. I also don't know German beyond Death Tanks Vi. So I'm having a look at, what was I having a look at? Payday. Payday 3 says, view in the store. Don't know where I'm going. Online co-op 2 to 4, Xbox cross-platform multiplayer, Xbox cross-platform co-op. So it looks like it is cross-platform, but only between Xbox and Xbox Game Pass PC stuff. So if anyone has that one, like I say, I've got it installed. We can give it a go if there are people calling for it. I still want to play Gears of War 5 multiplayer as well. Not Vigilante 8, Baz. Vigilante 8 was it was cars with guns, but it wasn't races, was it? It was more of a destruction, demolition derby kind of thing. The one I'm talking about was races with guns. And it was a Sega game. It was Sega published. I can't remember who made it. I'm gonna find it though. Why am I gonna find it? I don't know. I still am not convinced that it's not called Flat Out. Or otherwise connected to the Flat Out game. Flat Out game. No, Flat Out's just racing. It's not the destruction one. Ah, what was it called? I can't remember. Racists with guns, exactly, Tony. That's what it was. Back in the early days of online play, they were everywhere, the racists with guns. It was called... This is going to really bug me. Full auto, maybe? Let me try full auto. No, that's just bringing up actual guns. I get on some weird lists. Full auto Sega. Yeah, this is it. Xbox 360. There's some absolute dickhead who's uploaded a clip and they're pretending... No, I'm not even going to talk about that. How dare they? I hate when people mislabel things as HDR. It upsets me very much. Let's look at this channel. Racing Game Archive. 4-hour video. So this is footage from Racing Game Archive. This is the Xbox 360 game that I was talking about. You have guns on your cars. I always went with like a fairly heavy cannon on mine. Terrible footage. All you can really see is compression artifacts. But look, you can smash buildings and shit. We need to be able to smash more buildings in games today. Like it should be... Almost want it to be a bullet point checklist thing that all games aim for a certain level of destructibility. Even like FIFA, you should be able to destroy the stadium to a degree if you do things right. It was a pretty fun game anyway. Boom. Shoot some shit. I want to see some buildings. Look at that. You can smash the way through the buildings. It's good. Rival executed. Boom. Yeah. So same vein as Split Second, I guess. I never played Split Second. Twisted Metal better. Well, Twisted Metal wasn't a racing game, Tony. And also had really awkward controls if you go back to it. But... yeah, Tony, Burnout with guns. I'm not sure if you're talking about full auto that I just showed or if you're talking about Split Second, but... yeah, fun times. I gotta play Split Second. Tony, I have Split Second installed on the Xbox. I'm ready to play it. We can make that one of the Sunday games if it's got like working, functional online multiplayer. The brilliantly handcrafted tracks that are missing open world races. Tom, yeah, we talked about that like a week or two back, didn't we? That is a thing. I still find the Forza Horizon games a lot of fun. But I get your angle as well. Like, deliberately handcrafted tracks do offer a lot. And to some extent, just having less content offers something. Like, I need to actually learn a track rather than blasting through each one once. It's something that I miss from the older games. Good old Sega Rally. Anyway. What topic am I on at the moment? Oh, VR stuff. So, let's just really quickly gloss over the PlayStation VR stuff first. Okay, so PlayStation VR had a blog post today talking about some VR games that are coming over the course of the next 2 months. Nothing stellar or spectacular, but some games. I'm going to bring up their blog. Some games, and the fact that it has been revealed through a blog post is kind of a story in itself, I guess, because I don't think the PlayStation blog's got massive reach or audience or what's the word for, like, you know, shazah. It's not got much of that. That wasn't like a word at all, but the word isn't there, so shazah is the sound that I'm going with. Carmageddon, no, I haven't. Split Second servers were shut down March of this year. Well, phone them up, Tony, and get them back. So we can't play Split Second online. Why would they shut them down of March this year when I bought it, like, in March this year? For about £3. Bastards. I want to play that one online. Right, Marvel Spider-Man 2, no. Journey to... So here we go. You can have a look at this with me, because why not? So, they announced... someone mentioned, I think Space Denizen mentioned that the Resident Evil 4 VR mode is coming very soon. That looks brilliant. The Foglands I'd never heard of until now. But it's just a roguelike. You can play it Pancake, you can play it in VR. So it's made to be played in VR, but don't make me verify my age. Yeah, that looks about right. So might end up playing it, but there's enough roguelikes around. It's a struggle with our content trying to make things bigger. Roguelikes make a lot of sense in virtual reality, in Pancake games as well, but in terms of efficient use of assets and level building and all the rest of it, essentially making your game small and making people repeat stuff is sensible use of budget. But at the same time, it's very difficult for a roguelike to actually be fun to me. So that's the game that's coming out. That's enough of that trailer. Let's close that off and go back to whatever's next. Might be okay, but I can't... I think for a roguelike, a lot depends on how much inspiration it takes from Hades, how fun the powers are and how quick the runs are, and how incentivized you are to do it again. Old. Yeah. It's not to be mean about it, but yeah. Pizzazz, it kind of waned, but I think there's a different, like, there's other words around it that I would have been more satisfied by. But I'll take pizzazz for the time being, that's fine. So Among Us VR is coming to PlayStation VR 2. It's on Quest and PC VR at the moment. Is it cross-platform? I don't know. Do I have enough friends that have virtual reality to play a game of Among Us? I don't know. Would I like to play Among Us in VR more than I would like to play it Pancake? Yes, I would. It would be fun. Wait, it looked like I put in that I'm 123. Yeah, good maths. You're on it. Well done. I did indeed. Yes, I would play Among Us in VR, especially if the proximity chat is handled well. Like if it is proximity chat rather than global channels. Or if it's a choice, so you have proximity chat, but you also have like a walkie-talkie, which is how virtual reality multiplayer games should be. So you can, like, whisper in someone's ear if you're in close proximity to them, or you can press a button to talk over comms. That would be fun. I'd like to whisper at people while I murder them. In games. In the games I want to do that. It'll be fun, yeah. But I don't know. I don't have friends. What do I think an Among Us would taste like? Ham, mostly. Pretty sure. Ham and rubber. Not jelly beans. Not jelly beans. They're distinctly red meat when you kill them, from what I've seen of the images. I've never played Among Us. Dog shit, also likely, Baz. Yeah, could be dog shit. What else did we have from PlayStation? I'm glossing over this because become a galactic spy in Journey to Foundation. This one looked kind of interesting, actually. So I haven't particularly looked at these, but this one's based on an iconic comic series. I hear the TV series is doing quite well at the moment as well. Not watched it myself. This might look a lot better in VR than it does on trailer form. Says it has like choices and consequences that matter. You do stuff, you explore, and it's got a world that people already have an interest in. We shall see, but this one's also coming to Quest and Pico. Seems to have some dialogue, seems to have some stuff going on. So with this coming out and Ghostbusters coming out, there's reasonable games to tide people over, but it still needs Sony to do what Capcom do. It needs Sony to support the device properly. We'll talk about Sony in a minute, because obviously they've got the Jim Ryan thing going on. It's one of the main topics. I almost forgot about it. We'll get there. Let's go MetaQuest first before we talk about Jim Ryan and Sony and what they're going to do next. This kind of visually reminds me of the Star Wars game that you can play on PlayStation VR. Galaxy's Edge, which actually seemed kind of fun, but I haven't played it yet properly. I've done the intro sequence, the opening hour or so. Is there a high-level job application game in there? Well, there's not, but I get what you're saying. Any multiplayer game, you could be playing Among Us and you could bump into a PlayStation executive and shoot your shot. Could happen. Could happen. You like that I answered fast? Good. Good. Isla, you played Among Us. Good. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it? Well, I enjoy it. So, who had a look at the announcements around Quest 3 at Meta Connect? We had a couple of questions earlier about the device, and I'll say what I've said about it before. Is it going to be worthwhile as a VR device? Yes, I think it's going to be an incredible device. Is it going to sell really well? No, it's probably not. It's too expensive. MetaQuest, when I say it's not going to sell very well, it'll do reasonable numbers, especially when word of mouth starts hitting that it's a massive upgrade over the Quest 2. But Quest 2 was a lot cheaper at launch, and people had more money back then as well. So I think Quest 3 is going to struggle commercially, but also be a really, really good headset for people that are interested in dipping a toe into VR. It's $500, and it's going to have really nice, crispy, clear visuals. Games-wise, though, I think Meta Connect was a little underwhelming, because they didn't show very much. There's still no signs of... a long time ago, they announced Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, or Grand Theft Auto 3? San Andreas or 3? I can't remember which one, but one of those is supposed to be coming to VR in its entirety. And then it vanished. Game that does look really good they showed the other day, though, was the... What's the Assassin's Creed VR game called? Anyone know? Assassin's Creed VR should bring it up, but it had a more particular name. Fuck you, Bing. I meant to search YouTube. Fucking Bing. Microsoft's AI should surely recognize that I wouldn't want to be using Bing. Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. Let's do the Ubisoft Brazil 6 days ago trailer. So this actually looks really good for a Quest game. This will be one of the flagships in the near future. E.G. Kenta, would I recommend the Meta 3? I've not used it myself. You have to take anything that I say with a grain of salt, but I have used the MetaQuest Pro, which has pancake lenses in the same way, and I adore it. I think it's really, really very good. So yes, I think MetaQuest 3 will be very, very good, especially as a PC VR headset. But then you look at stuff like this. Okay, on a pancake like trailer, you might be looking at this and thinking, oh, Xbox 360 game, but for a standalone game, this is pretty nice. Looks like you get a fair amount of flexibility and freedom to move around, a reasonable density of stuff in the environment. No, it still looks like a mobile game. Come on now. Give me a PC VR version of this and it would probably be amazing. Still, this is a thing that's coming. VR are for those that don't have a safe word. How so, Tony? That's when you need one most. Tom, you'd rather dip your head into VR, toes and headsets. It's a very specific thing. It is, Tom, but, you know, haptics have progressed a long way, so if that's the angle you want to take, there's nothing stopping you. Did I see the comparison video for The Walking Dead? I didn't, E.T. Kenta. I'm going to find it now. Is this... Did Meta put out this video? Or is it, like a fan channel or something like that? And did they just compare it against the Quest 2, or did they go so far as comparing it against the big versions, PlayStation and PC versions? The other big game, obviously, is Asgard's Wrath 2, which disappoints me every time I see it. I think it's probably going to be really fun and be a really good game. But you look at Asgard's Wrath 2 next to Asgard's Wrath, and I can't help but feel a little piece has been ripped away from me, because Asgard's Wrath was such a pretty game. Such a pretty game. You saw it on Twitter? Okay. Not sure I'll be able to find that very quickly, but let's just go Quest 3 or Walking Dead comparison, see if it's up here somewhere. Huge graphics upgrade. No, this is not footage, not footage, not footage. Oh, here we go. Road to VR, I've got one. This is probably what you're talking about. I recognise. So it almost looks cell shaded on the Quest 3. It's definitely substantially different. Definitely substantially different. But also definitely wouldn't look at all favourable next to the big version. Obviously you wouldn't expect a device that you're strapping your face, like to your face, to look comparable to a PC or a PlayStation VR 2 version. But it's not my fault that they chose to strap the hardware to your face. I would love for Meta to do a proper PC VR headset or a standalone console headset, you know? So it's their fault. What you won't capture though, so that was direct capture footage. So it's what's being rendered rather than a through the lens shot. If you saw a through the lens shot, you'd be even more impressed by the differences, I think. If you put a Quest 2 on and then you put a Quest 3 on or whatever else, then the difference will be even more stark because the lenses are so much better. Did I see the Lex Friedman Zuckerberg interview in the metaverse with photorealistic avatar? Mind fucking blown. No, I didn't. No, I was making lunch for tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. But we can do what we want, AJH. Anyone's welcome to have lunch whatever time they want and call it whatever they want and make it out of whatever they want. Them's the rules. Right. How well do you pay, Tony? How well do you pay Tony? I'm assuming there's a question for Tony. You're not asking me how much I pay Tony, because I definitely don't pay Tony to be here. Much as I'm glad you are, Tony, of course. You could become an immersive crotch accessory for the right price. Oh, Tom. Okay. AJH, you eat cereal at night. No judgment here. Alright, there's no need to brag. Wayne. I said you can eat babies. That's not like the words definitely came from you. Definitely came from you. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So that was Meta Quest 3. Who's getting one? Who's getting a Meta Quest 3 or who's thinking about getting a Meta Quest 3? Or any other VR headset that's on the horizon, if you're holding out for what Valve have to offer, or if you want Apple's expensive thing. Tony, you're eating breakfast at 5 PM. Good, good, good. No rules. Apple Vision game. You're not actually, Tony. You told me you're getting a Quest 3. Take a pair of the smart glasses. I've not looked into that. I heard they were showing off some more sensible looking smart glasses that I don't know what they do actually, what they display to you. I know they record things and stuff like that. I need to check it out with this and AI voice. Anyone can be fooled. This technology is amazing and scary. Yes. I will look into that because that is interesting. Colin Prime, you don't understand why 128 and 512 and the price. Like the 128 exists because they wanted to hit that low price point, and it is suitable for a light user that doesn't want to install many high-end games. Quest games are when you talk about storage space, I mean, you're talking the same kind of numbers and metrics as console games, except the games are all low textured and a lot smaller. So if you get the 128 gig version, you can probably install a fair amount of games, but you are going to hit that limit eventually. I'm trying to think how big Resident Evil 4 is on the Quest. I've installed a few things onto the Quest, but for me, if I were getting one Cullen Prime for my own personal use, I would get the 128. Save the money because I primarily use it as a PC VR headset. Same would be true if you were primarily looking at, like, I don't know, a particular social application. If you wanted it for VR chat, where you wanted to run around in the park doing a particular game, then the small version might make sense. If you anticipate that you're going to be installing like the latest and greatest games on a regular basis, then you're going to hit that storage limit pretty quick and you're going to want the 512. I will really strongly recommend to anyone that does get a Quest 3 that you do look outside of Oculus's store and get side quests and look at things like Quake 3 and Duke Nukem and Return to Castle Wolfenstein and Jedi Knight Academy and all of these kind of things. The Quest is a really good way to play old PC games in VR because Team Beef do wonderful work. I really want to play, like, the Prey game in particular looks brilliant. I want to play that. And things like Doom 3 is a really good port. Quake 4 is coming to it soon and is looking very nice indeed. AJH, you're kind of torn, but more like from visuals you get information. This is the glasses. Cullen Prime, you do like Game Pass being on it though. Again, I really wouldn't get it for that purpose. Unless you have a really specific like use case in your home where you don't always have access to your TV. If you've got a choice between Game Pass stream to a Quest 3 or playing an Xbox game on a TV, the TV option's better. So don't get it for that purpose unless you're talking about, like, I don't know, your family's using the TV and you just want to be able to hide away in your headset and play some Halo or something. So circumstantially it can be useful, but it's not going to be a wonderful way to play, I don't think. Still better than not having Game Pass on it at all, I guess. Apple Vision equals GPS to your toilet. Yes, Tony, I think you probably know where your toilet is most of the time, but maybe they don't have to say turn right here and you just have an arrow. That would help. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's what I mean when I say I don't know what it displays. I don't know what the technology is, like how much it can display and what kind of thing, what kind of processing power it actually has to read things and tell you what's going on. But yeah, smart glasses and comfortable, subtle like AR devices are an interesting thing outside of gaming in terms of day-to-day life. An interesting concept. So Wayne, the Game Pass does look okay for when someone else is using the TV, like your wife and I. Exactly that, Wayne. That's the only circumstance where I could really see it being useful to me, is if I didn't have access to a screen to play my games. But it'll be a fairly nasty way to play. Right, Jefferson, welcome again. No games today, I'm afraid. This is just talking kind of stuff. But all of them games will be back soon. Tony, why did MetaQuest do AR and VR? You didn't see the presentation. Does VR take a hit for being AR? No, Tony, VR... You could say that VR takes a hit in that the device is quite expensive. So the augmented reality features add to the cost of the thing, but they don't take away from what it can do as a VR headset. So there's always a focus in terms of resource. Maybe if they didn't focus on mixed reality and augmented reality, maybe they could have included, I don't know, eye tracking, face tracking, the stuff that the Quest Pro has. Maybe they could have pushed some other area a little further, but it's not a direct compromise. Like, this thing has pass-through cameras, therefore it can't do VR something. It's not really like that. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm brilliant. I'm always okay. Oh no, is Isla okay because she broke her back? Well, that doesn't matter so long as I'm okay. Joe, how goes it? Super late is fine. You're at the tail end of it. Tony, you'd rather just get VR? How dare you, Tony? How dare you? You spent the last, like, 6 months to a year going on and on and on about how much you prefer AR over VR. And now you're telling me you want VR only. I keep telling you, it's going to converge. They're going to be the same technology. Augmented reality has a bigger reach, so Meta are never going to drop the idea. They're never going to stop pursuing it. Apple are never going to stop pursuing it because that's the one that had the wider audience and the broader reach. Augmented reality is AR. So typically when you're talking about headsets, augmented reality is when you can see the real world around you, and the headset just kind of superimposes things into that world, be it holograms or other technologies. In the case of Apple's one and Meta's one, you're not actually seeing the real world. Your cameras are capturing the real world and showing it to you, and then it just renders things into it. So it's augmented reality, also sometimes called mixed reality. Jay, you've been playing Keep Talking and No One Explodes in Pancake. Great game. So Keep Talking and No One Explodes made its name for itself in virtual reality because you had to have someone in the headset defusing a bomb and people talking to them, trying to explain to them what they needed to do. So the people in the real world had the instructions for how to defuse the bomb, and the people in the headset had to try and defuse it. I didn't actually know you could play it Pancake and Pancake, but it makes sense, I suppose. AR gonna have X-ray mode. It's for perverts. Perverts love looking at people's skeletons. I've seen them do it. They hang around at the hospitals just like looking for X-rays. I broke my arm really badly quite a few years ago now, and there was so many perverts just like staring at the X-ray. I regretted putting that onto Facebook. Funny concept, X-ray vision. If you've ever seen an X-ray, it's not actually sexy. But I get what you mean. I do understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. E.G. Ked said, it's funny how Microsoft will come up with weird ideas at the time, but when another popular company makes it happen, it's like they had the idea first. Yeah, everyone knows about Apple. Genital rays, that's how you get superpowers, Joe. That's how I got my superpowers anyway. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what any of you are talking about either. AR does stand for assault rifle as well. There's probably many things that AR stands for if you wanted to, but in this context, augmented reality. As long as they're ray tracing tits, it's all good. Nobody is doing that in virtual reality at the moment, apart from really low frame rate Cyberpunk. You can probably get exactly what you're after in that space. X-rays are sexy for some, just like party animals. Don't kink shame. Yeah. I wasn't shaming anyone, Tom. I just didn't want to be involved directly. So, what else was there? Any other VR questions before we go on to the questions at the end of the show? Because I think... Oh no, we haven't done the main one. We haven't done Jim Ryan. Has anybody ever seen Jim Ryan's skeleton? Is it a good one? Has he got healthy bones? Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. You've been playing on Xbox. There's no PSVR 2 version. How does it work on Xbox? Have you got... It seemed like an effort game where you're supposed to literally kind of print out the instructions. Are the people that you're playing it with online, or are you playing it locally and just not letting someone look at the TV? Oh, excuse me. How many people use VR? And how many people play VR games? Well, Bri, there's a question I don't know the answer to. Some millions do actually use VR. In terms of games and how many people, even within the numbers of people that have bought headsets, how many of them actually actively use them is a good question that companies keep quite secret. I use VR. That's the important thing. I love my VR games. Joe says saggy tits. Google, does Jim Ryan drink milk? Tits. I don't know what's happened. This is my fault. I've let this happen to the conversation. Talk about Jim Ryan. Not his bones. Not his tits. Jim Ryan has today announced, and Sony alongside him have announced, that Jim Ryan is stepping down. So Jim Ryan, fearless leader of PlayStation, who has overseen... As head of PlayStation, he's overseen the launch of the PlayStation 5, various games that have released in those first 3 years, but also increases to prices to like 70 quid, and PlayStation's broad pivot towards games as a service. And obviously the court case with Activision Blizzard King. Isla, that's a key question, isn't it? Why did he quit? So the reason given, which is a very reasonable reason, is that he's old and exhausted from all of the traveling, because he's based in Europe and he has to work in California most of the time. So he was spending several weeks a month traveling between Europe and America. And he says it's exhausting and discombobulating. No, he didn't. He said disorienting and stressful. He felt jet lagged, disoriented and tired, and stressed. Now, that's the public statement, but you've also got the timing around it where their number one competitor in Microsoft are acquiring Activision Blizzard King, and the industry is generally changing and quite difficult to navigate. Like, if you were running one of these companies, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, anyone else, the gaming industry over the next 5-10 years is pretty hard to predict in terms of what's going to stick, what audiences exist and where. Right, do I have VR goggles? I have so many VR goggles. I am a big fan of the virtual realities, yes. So I have a Quest Pro that I use for PC VR all the time, and I have a PlayStation VR. So Joe's joined the Badgers. In 1 month, Joe, you'll be able to send a message. It'll be brilliant. But for now, you get that fancy, almost Amogus looking, almost an A with VR goggles badge that I designed for me. So thanks for doing that. It is appreciated. I spit on super chats, but I very much welcome the little memberships. Those help a lot. Tony, Jim was replaced by an interim. They really want to get rid of him quick. There's another question, Tony, that hasn't fully been answered yet. So Jim Ryan's stepping down. He's not leaving his position until March or April next year. But the interim guy taking over is very senior in Sony already. I think he runs their mobile division or something along those lines. He's like second in command of Sony. He's taking over the PlayStation division, but it is only on a temporary basis, with stated plans that after Jim Ryan steps down in March, this guy will remain in charge, and then they will appoint somebody else. So they are looking to appoint somebody else. And it's an unknown at the moment whether Jim is carrying on business as usual for the next 5-6 months, or whether he's effectively already stepped down and quit, or been pushed for whatever reason. So Peter, Jim knew that he was going and decided to cause as much trouble as possible before going. Good on him. No, I don't think it's like that. I don't think he has caused trouble. I don't think he's done anything that unusual. Badger, mushroom. What's in my background? It looks dangerous, doesn't it? I've never actually completed Dragon Age Inquisition, so I can't confirm. But it is a magical rift in the sky. Very dangerous. I had a look the other day. The EA installer says that I'm about 45 hours into Dragon Age Inquisition before I lost my save file. So I got a fair way in. Then it was gone. Joe, no conspiracy on Jim Ryan, please. You spoke to him on the phone and he's just had enough of his tits sagging around on the floor. And all those those X-ray perverts probably got on his nerves. Sony have really good imaging tech. We know them for PlayStation, but their lenses, their medical equipment, all the rest of it, like he couldn't get anywhere without somebody trying to capture his tibula and fibula. So you can see how it was stressful. He's leaving in the middle of a big shake-up of PlayStation's coming plans, projects that he pretty much started. Well, there's another difficult to read thing, because Jim Ryan's tenure at PlayStation is hard to judge, because a lot of the things that have happened while he was in charge were kind of incubated by Sean Layden behind him. So all of the games that came out, and I'm not saying that Jim Ryan was sitting on his hands, but the games that came out in those first 3 years and carried the PlayStation 5 through, including like the deals with Square Enix and whoever else, were probably already in motion. And the stuff that Jim Ryan set into motion is probably what we're going to see unfold over the next 3 to 5 years. But PlayStation have been so quiet and secretive on what that actually is. So, I mean, maybe assumption was that they were being quiet and secretive because the ABK stuff that was going on, and they were going to talk more at the end of it. But maybe Jim Ryan stepping down has been on the cards for a while, so I don't know what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years. But do you reckon whoever's coming in is going to keep marching in the same direction towards games as a service, towards PC releases, towards all the rest of it? Or do you reckon there is a shake-up coming? But who would you like to have in an ideal world where Bobby Kotick's not available? Who would you like to have in charge of PlayStation? Years of dedication. Yes, years of dedication is how you get there. Brian, it is just a button on YouTube. It's like £3 a month or something, so you are very welcome to if you want to, but don't feel obliged, because you might hate me in a couple of days' time. I do upset people. Joe, you've been meaning to sub for ages, but you're on your laptop tonight rather than watching on a phone. I didn't know you can't do it on a phone, but cool. Much appreciated again. So let's get photos of Phil's nips to see how long he will stay in the job. Peter, have you got photos of Jim Ryan's nips? Is that what's happened here? Have you forced him out of PlayStation? That's outrageous, and you shouldn't have confessed it in writing. Baz, don't make people do that. AJH, you think the only true get in Jim's period was getting Bungie. So, like, he has to have been involved in some of the acquisitions, right? Housemarque has to have come under him, Nixus and Valkyrie and Firesprite or whoever else they've got. Those were all closed while he was in charge. So conversations might have started, but he was there. He did oversee the launch of the PlayStation. It has been very successful, and I'm sure with all of the hardware stuff going on, I mean, it's not a one-man show, so most of these things like securing hardware and all the rest of it probably did happen elsewhere in the chain. You need an affiliate link for your percentage of the £3 a month. We'll see about that, Joe. You can have the Asa as a shill link off of me. It doesn't make any money. Me in charge of PlayStation, I will push that virtual reality so hard that PlayStation go completely bankrupt. Yeah. Although Bungie is for the streets, there will be another publisher in a few years. Who would you like, though, ideally? So, Peter, you might upset me. I upset all of you every week, but you always forgive me. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm sure I upset some people, but you're all good, relaxed people here that come back, so it's fine. No worries, E.G. Kenta. Thanks for coming by. Bri, what would I do if I had control over the entire world? You mean I haven't? This is news to me. I just assumed that I already did. I don't know. What does it mean? What does it mean to have control over the entire world? I'm quite nice, so I'm sure I would help people that are struggling, ideally. But I'm also quite selfish, so I would force them all into making VR games. That would work. I don't know. You saw me pissing in Paris's cornflakes on Twitter again. Nah, I have no direct interactions with him. It's just said some stupid stuff, right? That's all. Gaz been exporting the source. I've always had my own. What's the word? I don't know. But no, I don't need anything exported. I'm good. Bri, what would you do if you had control of the entire world? And what is there to say about PlayStation with Jim Ryan leaving? So it's difficult because he was at PlayStation for 28 years. So whatever he's done, like whatever you can and can't credit him for in terms of the PlayStation 5 and Sony's current position, you can at least say that he hasn't completely derailed them and fucked up during his 5 years in charge. But he's also, the thing that he's more credited for is establishing PlayStation's position in Europe in the first place. So Jim Ryan's history at PlayStation, before PlayStation had achieved in the marketplace, was to fix their European arm, which was very effective. He did a good job there, regardless of whether he's ever played a game in his life or not. PlayStation still control most of Europe. That was down to him more so than anyone else at PlayStation, as far as I know from the outside. Then he did who knows what, and then he took over PlayStation, and he's always had this stark contrast with Xbox because Jim Ryan doesn't like talking to people. He doesn't like social media. He's a self-professed introvert, and he's always been very awkward and quite Don Matrix, yeah. So it's quite hard to know like what he can actually be credited for, really. See, Baz, you say that he's a good bullshitter, but he didn't bullshit much because he didn't say much. I think if Jim Ryan had a choice, we would never have heard a word that he said. So, like, Microsoft is set up quite differently, and they're very public and very active on social media, and you hear them talk, and it's part of their strategy. And Sony, possibly to their detriment or possibly not, they don't say anything, and I don't mind if they carry on that way, really. Ultimately, I care what games come out, how good they are, like important things like that, more so than how exciting their tweets are. See, that's the real risk, isn't it, Joe? Like, I don't think you look at the direction that PlayStation have taken over Jim Ryan's time, and there's a lot to be discouraged about. So I like that they did VR and stuff, obviously, and I like that Spider-Man 2 is not filled with microtransactions. But I have very low hopes between any of their games as a service games. Their 10 or 11 live service games that they're developing. That's not like a comfortable direction that I want to see them focus on. I understand the need to. The gaming industry is in a difficult place because it is going to shift dramatically over the next 5-10 years. And you want people like Phil Spencer that are grounded in what kind of core gamers are interested in to be involved in that steering. And now that Jim Ryan has left, I don't think Jim Ryan necessarily was like a Phil Spencer equivalent, but he could so easily be replaced by a Bobby Kotick, like a real money person. And it could be very bad news, or it could be replaced by someone wonderful. We don't really know yet, do we? Could be replaced by Bry Jefferson. Bry, which gaming console is better? Xbox, PlayStation, or Wii U? I'm going to go with the Wii U because it's such an outlier in that question. The Wii U, I owned one of them, and I don't think I ever played a single thing on it. I'm assuming that you meant the Switch. Baz, never forgive him about Spider-Man. Miles was only for PlayStation 5 and then it was available for PlayStation 4. Yeah, he's definitely had his lines, hasn't he? We believe in generations as well. All that trouble over like Horizon's next gen version was going to be free and then it wasn't. It was 10 and then it was free and all the rest of it. Prices going up in the first place. Pushes towards games as a service. Some people are upset by the PC releases. I'm not. I like the PC releases. But he has handled overwhelming pressure from Microsoft and overwhelming pressure to shift towards subscriptions and things like that. He has navigated those waters well, I guess, because PlayStation are still in the position that they're in. And at the start of this generation, if you look back at those Phil Spencer emails that leaked last week, how confident he was, or not. Like, Microsoft and Xbox believed that they had a shot this console generation. They believed they were in a good position to compete with PlayStation. So you got to credit Jim Ryan for steering the ship so far ahead of Xbox, because that is not what Microsoft were expecting. But we'll see what good and what harm he's done in the next few years, I suppose, and we'll see who replaces him. I don't really know. I don't really have strong thoughts on it. Like, PlayStation had a lot of people in charge. I think they've had 3 different CEOs in the last 10 years. And unless you were really following it closely, like, the average PlayStation customer probably doesn't even know that the leadership has changed, because PlayStation are quiet. They're not. Like, Jim Ryan said he was an introvert and didn't like to talk, but Sean Layden wasn't as public as Microsoft's lot, and I can't even remember. Was it Kaz Hirai before him? They don't talk much. Herman Holst is like PlayStation's most likable face, Spriggan. So it depends what you're looking for in a leader. Herman Holst, from our perspective, obviously understands games and has led PlayStation Studios very nicely, and he would be like a closer equivalent to Phil Spencer in that he could come on stage and talk to gamers about games. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's the right person to lead the division, because it is a money game at the end of the day. But Herman Hulst seems like a good guy. I think they're more likely to go for someone in the Bobby Kotick mold. But and obviously everyone will be like really happy gamer perspective if it was like Shuhei Yoshida. Can't say his name, but you know. Is it possible to play Among Us on any console? Yeah, it's on Xbox Game Pass, isn't it? And then you can definitely play it on Switch. Maybe PlayStation as well. I think you can play Among Us everywhere. Pretty much. What up, Nathan? Yeah, Nathan, how you doing? What you playing? To answer, Brian, by the way, I did deliberately avoid answering your question. When you say which gaming console is better, Xbox, PlayStation, or Wii U? For me, it's definitely not the Switch. The Switch has a load of good games, but in terms of the hardware itself, nah. I really like the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 as consoles. And there's strengths and weaknesses to both. The Xbox is obviously more directly superseded by a PC, because the games come out day and date. But it's still a really nice console. Like, to use an Xbox, it's fast and responsive and fun and has good games, and PlayStation is fast and responsive and fun and has good games. So, what's the topic? I don't know, Luak. We were talking about Jim Ryan for a minute and PlayStation and what they're going to do over the next 5-10 years. Switch 2 will be interesting if the specs and DLSS rumors turn out to be true. Spriggan, it will be interesting even if that stuff doesn't turn out to be true. I think, or I hope that there's some truth to it. For me, selfishly, I just want Nintendo to release a console that displays nicer on a TV, because that's how I play their games. Or how I would play their games. So if they just do one that is not much more than a Switch, but can upscale well to a 4K TV, I wouldn't be unhappy with that. Hopefully they're doing a little more, but I wouldn't be unhappy. Nintendo's going to have another Wii U situation with the Switch 2, guaranteed. Well, it is Nintendo, and they do have that release cadence, don't they? Good console, bad console, or success, flop, success, flop. So they are due a flop. Is Jim really leaving to head up Apple Vision? No, Tom, of course not. Jim's gonna go and plant plums on his allotment and make them into jam. He's gonna go like full Jeremy Corbyn, I think. Not like gonna become a politician or follow his views or anything, but he's gonna go and do some gardening. Joe, it would be your first Nintendo since the Wii, so I have a Switch, I just don't play it. It has so much though. Like, the Switch has so many games that I want to play. Since Astral Chain came out, I've been watching it since then, and I look at the Xenoblade games, even like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I want to play those games. Not Mario. Mario can get fucked, but... Brian, you got to go. No worries. Thank you for coming by. I will see you on another one. There's always like streams and things happening, so... Tom knows Tony's buttons. You do make them very excessively public, Tony. Let's go to the questions, shall we? Start to wrap up now. Unless anyone has anything that you want to say about Sony and Jim Ryan and what happens next in that department. I obviously haven't said anything too insightful because I don't know anything. It's an interesting inflection point, and I can only hope that it works out well and makes PlayStation better and not worse. But we'll all find out together. Peter, you must be bonkers. You have a good PC and an X, but for some reason you still play Starfield on the X. Maybe Forza Motorsport will be PC only. We shall see. Wow, Peter. Yeah. Well, I like the Xbox as a console. People don't believe me sometimes when I say that, but I still play the Xbox sometimes. Like when we play Rocket League, I play that on the Xbox. I've got it on the PC as well, but It's nice to sit on Xbox and flick things between quick resume and all the rest of it. It's a fun console to use. So. Wayne, you do not want Sony to fail winning competition. Without it, prices are going to go silly. Yeah, I don't see Sony suddenly literally failing with whoever comes in charge of it, unless they pick a random fanboy from Twitter, and then obviously the world will end. But it's what direction they take, whether they lean heavier into the stuff that's a bit smeggy, whether they really push towards like mobiles and games as a service harder than they are now, or whether they get somebody that cares about their legacy and their core games and all the rest of it. My t-shirt says it all. It does, doesn't it? It's very apt for this particular subject. I don't know, got no idea. But neither of any of you, unless you do and you're keeping secrets. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, I want to play that. Cyberpunk, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, I want to play that. I don't have it. There's way too many games at the moment. Hopefully after October's done, that will slow down a little bit and we'll start to catch up some. Maybe I can add it to my list of things to review. Bomb Rush, Dead Island. Oh, Dead Island 2 I still need to play as well. So many games. And Astral Chain, no, not Astral Chain. Tales of Arise and Deerfield Chronicles. I've got both of those installed as well. The Star Ocean game that came all free on PlayStation last month. I want to play that too. Many games. Resident Evil 4's DLC. So Resident Evil 4 I'm going to play in VR one day. I'm so far behind on my Resident Evils. The new Dragon Quest game with the silly name that has... Yeah, it does have a silly name, doesn't it? And I've forgotten it. I'm not sure, if that's supposed to be good or not. Why weren't there this many games when you were a teenager? I don't know. Would that have been better though, Joe? Would it have been better to have this many games in the era where you had to buy them all? Hey, Luap. I'm assuming that's spoiler territory for something. Don't do it. Alan Wake 2 is looking so good. Can't wait for it. I like Remedy. And I will probably play Alan Wake 2, but I'm not desperate to get onto that one. It's on my list for at some point. Right, let's do... Oh, there's already the first question. Shit, wait, I'm behind. Tony asked, MetaQuest 3 less than Apple Vision. I guarantee Apple Vision will sell out. Tony, Apple Vision will sell out if they make a very limited run of them. Because there are some wealthy Apple fans. There's a finite number of wealthy Apple fans that will be willing to get that device. So, question for you, Tony. You say that Apple Vision will sell out. Do you think that Apple Vision will sell more units than the MetaQuest 3? Peter, this is very much a no spoiler channel. I won't spoil things from games that I played 30 years ago, just in case anyone fancies going back and playing them. Joe, you completed The Expanse this week. Is it good? That's the Telltale one, isn't it? Cullen Prime, it shouldn't indeed, but this is challenging Tony's confidence on the matter. The other question disappeared. Tony said Mario is greater than VR. I'm gonna just have to say that you're talking about sales numbers, Tony. I agree with you. There have been more Mario games sold than virtual reality headsets sold. You are on a run. You're on fire. I can't dispute what you are saying. Telltale and Deck 9 that were involved with Life is Strange in some way. Okay, fair enough. Did you already like The Expanse before playing it? Did you like the TV series and whatever other medium it's come from? Because I don't think I was particularly massively keen on the TV series. Tony again. MetaQuest 3. Will I be seeing 12K on each eye? Only if you look at a notepad that says 12K on it. If not, then what's the point? Might as well stick to your 4K 120 frames per second Dolby Vision Dolby Atmos with 444 chroma RGB setting. Depends, Tony. If you're talking about the Game Pass thing, a projected screen, then I agree with you. You might as well stick to a high quality TV rather than playing pancake games in a virtual reality headset. But if you're talking about actual virtual reality games, you're talking wild. Because your TV can't give you anywhere near as cool an experience as a nice virtual reality headset. So, yeah. Next question. Nintendo did do the cheapest VR. Nah, Peter, I don't think, even though it was made of cardboard, I don't think Nintendo's cardboard was cheaper than Google's cardboard. Don't nod did Life is Strange, but I'm assuming Deck 9 were also involved as well. Everyone is Tony. No, that was actually Tony. Tony's asked the last 3 questions. And this is Tony that's saying everyone is Tony. Joe, you've read a few books. The TV series gets better as the budget got higher. I saw on Twitter today, something said that like there was a survey and the first line of Harry Potter was the best line of a book or something, which is probably bullshit. I don't like Harry Potter. But then there was a whole thread of people doing first line, like brilliant first lines from books that they've presumably enjoyed. And I was reading these guys, shit, now I want to read books. So my reviewing career is over. I'm going to get a book. Don't know which book. It is bullshit. What is Isla? Boo. Kratos, you're done. One thing led to another times 5. Confused. Right. I'm doing the next question. April Fools, October Fools. Everybody's Fools. Peter Morland asked, you multitask, working the stream and addressing comments. How on earth do I, if I can, manage to quickly judge comments for their intent / humor? We need it. We read it at leisure and maybe see differently. I don't know, Peter. You judge me. I am multitasking. I do the streamy things. I read the stuff and I try and respond. And I've got other things going on. I'm actually playing a board game with my feet at the moment as well. I read badly, as Isla said. Exactly. I asked you to do this, Isla. I said, you judge me. How am I doing it? I don't know. Am I doing it well? Am I doing it badly? You see me play games and Tony likes to comment on my accuracy in those games. Reading chat is the perfect excuse for it, so... You're going to use Copilot for Windows 11, not paying 30 quid a month for it. No, Tony. I'm not against the concept of... Like, if there is a bit of technology that can fix my life, then I will embrace it. So if Copilot comes along and somehow gets me to get shit done, sure, why not? As it stands, seems unlikely that that will be the case. Am I touching the questions? No, I'm not touching the questions. Have I skipped some? Have you skipped some? Have we skipped some? They're dismissing without you doing anything. Definitely I'm not, I promise. Oh, am I? Wait a second, let me click one. No, I'm not. I can't interact with them on the window that I've got. Does Copilot point a gun at you and say, fucking do stuff? I'm assuming it can do that. They don't know that it can do that, but that's the thing with AI, isn't it? Ever tried a meal that's not chili? I have, Joe, but not on a Thursday. Thursday is, for some reason, a lot of chili. Yes, I've tried many other meals though. Thank you for your concern. What the fuck is Copilot? Copilot is the AI built into Windows. So it's part of Microsoft's Office suite. They charge like... To business and enterprise, they charge something like 30 quid per head per month. I'm assuming it's roughly the same for end users at the moment. It's the replacement for Cortana. There you go. They killed Cortana and they brought in a new AI, Copilot, that is a little more far-reaching in what it can do and is actually AI rather than just a little searchy circle. It has access to your calendar and your tasks and all of the kind of Office suite of organization tools. And it tries to help you in some way, possibly by pointing a gun to your head. Either you want to ask a question, you can always ask a question. A reskinned Bing chat, kind of. Like a Bing chat, except it might address you rather than you needing to prompt it. You can't think, okay, you want to ask a question, but you don't have a question. Fair enough. I can't feed you one, that would be cheating. Sounds like a fucking nightmare. Possibly, Joe. Like, it's not an enticing proposition, unless it turns out that actually, like, if it's effective, if having this thing suddenly makes me a better person, maybe it would be worth the annoyance. I don't know. Enjoy the show, guys. Kiss, kiss. Episode 13 is not even here. Sneaky bastard. Thanks, episode 13. If you watch this back afterwards, I am sure everybody has thoroughly enjoyed parts of it. Next question, please. Important questions to come. That's the end. That's the last one. What's the time? 11:30. How did that happen? We've done it. I'm not sweating anymore. It happened again. It wasn't you. Was there another question? I can click things and it doesn't do anything. So. Episode 13 probably is practicing at Party Animals. Joke's on him. I only play Power Stone now. Baz, what could they have cancelled? I've missed something. You just hope something comes out. Skull and Bones. What are we talking about? I'm confused. What do you hope comes out? You're looking forward to the new Xbox controller. That's going to come out. That's going to come out and it's going to be nice. And then there'll be the elite version of it. What's my bra size? I don't know. Have a guess. You understand these things better than I do. If you had to guess, size me up. Tony, you got to go as well. No worries, I'm going anyway. You've been eating for 2.5 hours. Good work, good work. The new Xbox controller with the haptics I think will be very nice, and the quieter buttons and all the rest of it. I've been very lucky with Xbox controllers in that mine don't get stick drift and sticky bumpers and all the rest of it. I know a lot of people have had trouble with them. Not me, mine's fine. But they give me one with haptics. I want it. As well as paddles. Joe, am I playing Party Animals again on stream? People are going to insist. I've still got it installed. I'm all for playing things that the collective, the group wants to play because I want people to have fun. So yeah, there may well be some more Party Animals. If you are wondering whether you should keep it installed, do keep it installed. Many games. Joe asked, Saggy. Okay. Again, I did say you can put whatever you want in there. Doesn't need to be a question, so yes. No, Wyler, I didn't want an explanation of how the measurements go. I just wanted an answer because I didn't know how to answer it. But this is fine. I'll crack out a tape measure and let you know next week. You're gonna finish the Gran Turismo movie. How far did you get? I don't like pausing movies. Baz, you never had an elite, maybe one day. Oh, it's an experience when you first get one, especially if you play like a demanding game. Because if you've played games all your life with a normal controller, and then you have to retrain like these fingers to get involved. I made the mistake of getting my first elite controller when I was quite into Rocket League. And like the elite controller makes so much sense for Rocket League because it's really useful to have those extra buttons. Like that extra bit of control. But my brain and my fingers were not coordinated in that way. So I went from being quite good at Rocket League to suddenly being like, ball's in the air, I'm going to jump. No, I pressed the brakes. So many times, like just goals flying by, saves flying by, because it took a while to get used to those bumpers. And I think now, if I'm being honest, I'm probably still not used to them unless I have them on. I use them quite consistently across all of my games. And so long as they are limited to jump, dodge and sprint, which is how I use them, I think I'm adjusted and adapted to that. But if you were to change those controls and ask me to like remap my fingers, it would be a freaking disaster. Still recommend it, even if you only use it for jumping. Being able to jump and move the camera at the same time is a game changer. You're right, Tom. It's difficult but worth it in the long run. Yes. Boba Fett Gaming, you've been lurking while you get stuff done. You gotta run, no worries. Thank you. Lurking is also appreciated. So, all good. Joe, you have 4 elites. Do you have 3 friends? Or are you just like really bad with your battery management? They're adding animals and documentary style narration to Flight Sim. That's neat. If they do it well, that could go. I've not done Flight Sim yet, but I can see how that would fit. Quite a serene and educational experience at the same time. Did I answer Tom? What is the meaning of the universe? I've not read books, Tom, but I know that 42 is the given answer for that question. Meaning of all things. Beyond that, though, I'm fairly certain something to do with boobs. But that's as far as I can get, as close as I can get. Underwear supportive or ting-tang boxes. Sometimes, Peter, sometimes. Next question. They just keep breaking and you buy new ones because they're out of warranty. You like it when Microsoft dominate you, so you just keep on replacing your Series controller. Well, the new ones are supposed to be more reliable, so I hope you end up with a durable Xbox controller that does nice things in the palms of your hands. Next question, please. And definitely boxes, Peter, if you must know. Ding dang boxes. We're back to Saggy. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I think we're done. So, yeah, let's wrap up there. I'm gonna keep working on my reviews and stuff. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna do some Baldur's Gate streaming tomorrow. Go Live is on Saturday. I've got no idea who's on it yet. I might just shout over everybody this week. And then it's Sunday after that. And round we go. So thank you everyone that has turned up, watching, talking, otherwise, watching afterwards. It's all appreciated. Do the hitting the like button and the sharing things and the commenting. Wait a minute, Isla, why are we sad? While we're playing Sunday, I don't know, Baz. I don't know. Harris is coming on. No, he won't. Even if Gaz were to flirt with him and offer unscrupulous freebies. Actually, no. He'd probably do anything for a freebie, so you never know. But does Paris like Gaz? Yes, he does. As far as I'm aware, anyway, or so he tells people. Weird. How could anybody like Gaz? I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Can't help myself. Is it, yeah, maybe there's a reason he doesn't like me. Eh? Eh? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. But that is for another day. The glorious news that Hyenas has been cancelled. Will we finally get a sequel to Alien Isolation from Creative Assembly? Sadly, I don't think so, because most of the people that were working on it have been let go, haven't they? I think they'll try and facilitate as many people as they can on the Total War IP. But no, I don't think they'll be doing anything with Alien Isolation. I'd like to be wrong. I can't imagine that's the case, Baz, but they lost the license. Yeah, but licenses can be recovered. Who got the Aliens license at the moment? Do we know that? There was an Aliens game that came out. Dark Descent came out a few months ago, didn't it? Oh, yes, that's true. Embracer. Oh no. I mean, who knows what's going to happen if Embracer have currently got the license. Dark Descent was supposed to be reasonably good. Replicant, you missed the majority of the show tonight. Don't worry. It was just I don't even know what we covered or if anything of value was said, but hopefully people that were here had a decent time of it, and you know, we'll talk more on future ones. Read yours, Isla. Out loud, or right. To like Gaz and not me, you don't understand. No, you don't. Gaz is actively offensive on purpose for fun. I don't get to like dictate who other people like and why. Okay, just read it. Too late. I read it out loud. It's like it's a thing. It's not a problem. Don't be mad. Yo, kick butt. Kick mine. It aches so much. This chair is so painful. Might be exactly what I need. King Thrash is an imbecile. I don't know anything about King Thrash apart from he's had a running feud with Gaz that extends before anybody like had ever heard of Gaz. They used to argue on internet forums at least 10 years ago. And it continues. And continues and continues. I think one of them might change the other one's mind any minute now, but... Wayne, I did... who was it? Someone said right at the start of the show that yes, the Nvidia anti-compete thing, someone mentioned it. And I've forgotten the person's name, except that it ended with a series of numbers. Eternal conflict, yes, Brigand. It will never end. And they both have this, like, weird, conceited respect for each other. That console warriors, like, do that. This is not a thing that I fully understand. Joe, you have stock in Nvidia. Are you going to have a bad day tomorrow? I rather suspect you might want to ride it out. Hopefully it will amount to nothing and the stock will bounce back, but I'd be surprised if a raid doesn't cause a little dip. When did you get the stock? Have you seen a very good time? Because that was my response when it was mentioned earlier, was that Nvidia stock has been like a nice thing to own over recent months and years. No, Tom. Always encourage people to get mad. It's more entertaining. Madness is good. Replicant, you're going to ask again, is it worth getting a Quest 2 to dabble in VR? As it's just getting discounted. No, don't get a Quest 2. Like, the Quest 3 is a significant step up. So, wait for it. Plus, when the Quest 3 comes out, a lot of people will be getting rid of their Quest 2s if you really do just want to dabble. Although, second-hand VR headsets is a little bit grim, but... What are we mad about? Everything. Everybody stay mad all the time. It's good fun. That is actually the end, though. Wait a minute. PC, you're not working tomorrow. For some reason I read something about face painting. You face finishing and restarting Starfield. You don't know what to do. Yeah, you know exactly what to do. Lots of Starfield. Isla's going in circles. I'm also going in circles. Isla smash good. If it starts going down, Jensen will just talk about AI again and say the more you buy, the more you save. Next day, Nvidia stocks at a record high. Exactly, Spriggan. Like, whatever this anti-compete thing is likely to blow over and their stock will keep climbing for a little while because that is the trajectory for AI at the moment. So, you're up 222% as of today. Yeah. Okay, good stock to own. Well, long may it continue for you. In the meantime, this is the end. I'm going to press the button now. Everything's going to close off. I can't remember the things to say to finish off the show, so I will see you in the near future. Thank you, everybody. Blah.
Asa. Game on daily.